All right, welcome back everyone to the Archon Team League Championships. My name is not Amaz, and RDU is not Noxious, but he's here to cast with me. So RDU, you're just done with a crazy series. Are you still feeling like upbeat or a little demoralized?
I feel that in the Warrior game there was like almost nothing I could have done. There was like another more aggressive play, but if I would have went for that and he armored up, I had like no chance to win. So I went
Yep.
for the top deck 5 drop or top deck 4 drop line of play, which I didn't get and I lost. And then in the other game, I don't know, maybe I could have done something different, but I kind of played around Bear Trap more than Freezing Trap, and because he got Freezing Trap, I got pretty wrecked there. But other than
Well, I
that,
think
we were. Hmm?
overall, yeah, like you guys, Nihilum, you did. I feel like the games you played were played well. It's not that you played poorly. Like I was talking with Amaz while we were casting. Like all the games, you seem to be on point. I saw, the first match right from Thais. I don't know if you watched that, but the amount of like the odds that he was going to win this were really high. So I think he played this almost perfectly. You guys did pretty much everything right. But yeah, it was really unfortunate for everything to happen. But then again, you still have a chance, right? Like tomorrow, you're gonna have another chance to come back in. So hopefully, we see a little bit more of you in the future.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
hoping
hope
so.
so.
So that being said, we're going to be moving on shortly to Team Archon versus Forsenboys. These guys are fighting for a chance to stay in the league. Actually, whoever wins this is going to fight off against you tomorrow. So casting this will give you a good, a little bit of information, to say the least, against whichever of those teams you end up facing off against. So Team Archon versus Forsenboys. Whoever loses this is knocked out completely. Obviously, it's going to be a Conquest best of 11. Team base, same thing as we've had for the entirety of the Archon Team League Championships. Anything you predict here, RDU?
I predict Sixo's Paladin to go better than yesterday. I tried a similar version on ladder, and I have to say Sixo was really unfortunate yesterday. He had also some weird lines of play, but he told me he was really tired and he couldn't play his best. And now today we should expect the best from him. He wants to redeem
Yeah.
himself.
Definitely a good thing. And, I think a lot of people underestimate Secret Paladin. I think it's actually one of the stronger decks after a TGT. Like, it's up there. Not the strongest, of course, but, like, there is something to be done with it that is definitely not, like, tier 5. It's a deck that actually works pretty well if it's played properly.
What do you think is the chance of seeing the aggro Secret Paladin have as many complaints about the power of the deck as Patron right now? In like the near future, in like 3 months.
Of Secrets?
What do you think that chance is that in 3 months Secret Paladin is like his patron now?
I don't think it's gonna be to the level of Patron, but I think there's an archetype with the whole playing anything with the card. Like, you don't even have to play all the early game that he's playing, and you can just still get value out of it. I don't know how high the curve went. Like playing all the Doctor Booms, Mysterious Challenger in a mid range deck is just gonna win games. I mean, I think was he running an Oyotrons in that deck or not?
No.
Okay, because there's like a few versions you can run with this where you're running basically like 8 secrets in the deck, and Mysterious Challenger is going to act as like 2 more Doctor Booms. You're gonna have Doctor Boom and like 2 Mysterious Challengers just winning automatically. So I don't know if it's ever gonna be the level of Patron, but I think Paladin got so much love. It's hard to not see it be tier 1 like with 2 decks.
I expect Tiso to even start with the Paladin because he wants the win with that deck, no matter what. He wants to redeem himself from yesterday.
So just like run in and hope that, I mean, you just head bash against the wall until eventually you get a win. I could see that. I mean, the thing is, the deck really came out poorly from what I saw yesterday. So, what was your experience with it on ladder?
It went with more than 70% win rate.
Yeah, no, I think it's a crazy deck. I think overall, like, Secret Paladin is pretty nuts. Maybe not patron level, because the metagame is going to change. It's not just going to be Secret Paladin coming up, right? Like, you're going to have other archetypes from other classes modifying the way the metagame is going to play out. But it's definitely a good contender for, like, tier 1, tier 2.
Yep.
Forsen versus 6-0 with Druid, so there's no Paladin coming out.
But still 6-0.
Yeah. So he's just going to go out, like, full Druid, win the game, then play Paladin, win the game, go home, and just rest.
In theory, it's a really good matchup for 6-0. Druid should be favored. But we saw that he has Yeti in the deck, and that's quite a weird tech choice.
Yeah, I think Team Archon was. I think Moz was talking about the Yeti, right? We were talking about that earlier, where by playing Darnassus Aspirant or Aspirant, I forget how you pronounce that, you're giving yourself the chance, like twice the chance to ramp, and your 4 drops become so much better as a result of that.
Yeah, but is Yeti the best 4-drop to run?
So you've got Paladin Shredder, Savage Combatant. Would you play that over it?
Maybe.
Okay, so
Teacher?
considering the Violet Teacher, I know Hyped is running the Violet Teacher version. So maybe, yeah, you're right. We'll see exactly if it pans out. For now, there's no Yeti inside, just a classic case of Shredderino. Nothing out of the ordinary here.
Forsen doesn't have the Frostbolt to kill the Darnassus, and now 6-0 ramped up successfully into Shredder. And it's fine that even if Darnassus dies next turn, he can still coin 5-drop into 5-drop.
Yeah, I think the curve from 6-0 is looking flawless, and it's even better than Wild Growth in this case because it's putting a body on the board, right? That your opponent has to address. So your 4-drop or 5-drop are going to do even a better job. Wow, and he's gonna stay on the board one more turn and allow 6-0 to just coin out Emperor.
It'll be a really weird game. Like, the way Forsen would win is if he gets a fast Emperor and then Antonidas. And 6-0 wins by just pressuring Forsen, so he has the edge, obviously.
Yeah, and I think Darnassus Aspirant is one of those cards that, when it was revealed, everybody thought it was insane. But when you see it in action, it looks even stronger than I even thought. Because, like, you're doubling the amount of Wild Growths you've got in your deck, right? And I think the body that it's putting on the board is such an annoyance. It's such an annoying card. Because you can't let it live, but you don't want to waste time killing it.
Yeah, we also see 6-0 manipulating the mana. That's something also that is really interesting. You can play your whole mana and then kill Darnassus, make a profitable trade,
Yep.
and then still be ahead in power.
Yeah, you don't even need that mana crystal sometimes after you're done. I think that's a really good point you're making is you can actually use that mana before you're done. Like, it's not going to give you the mana and then you lose the minion you played with it at the end of the turn.
Forsen is forced to use the Fireball. He doesn't want
Forsen's
to do it,
forced.
but he has to.
For the face with the Acolyte. I mean, he did get
Smart
quite a few draws. And now the question is, of course, like, is Forsen going to be able to wipe the board at any point? Like, so
It's
far
very
his hand is
hard.
not lining up for this, and it's already difficult against a Druid to pull off. Because between the, Swipe Wrath, the Keeper of the Grove, you've already got so many things denying you the ability to wipe. When they're ramping up so fast, I'm not even sure how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, the game is too fast now for Forsen to come back into it. Like,
I mean,
whenever
he could
6-0
loot
drops the
hoarder,
low tap,
right? Sorry, go ahead.
whenever 6-0 goes for the low tap, he just shuts Forsen down for one turn, and that's like potentially game winning. But Loot Hoarder is also pretty slow. He just goes for the card and hopes he gets Flame Strike.
Yeah, I think that's a great play. I mean, at this point, you've got to find anything that takes the board away. Like, nothing else will do it.
Yeah, you need to stabilize board and then play Antonida somehow. And if you get him to survive, you probably win.
So, I guess you just play Darnassus Aspirant for the extra body at this point, because it's not going to get wiped. Like, Blizzard can't be played, Flame Strike can't be played, getting an extra 2-3 could be good enough. Is there even a drawback to playing it? Maybe like an Ice Block you have to go through, and then you lose the board, then you have one less minion to play later?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Darnassus was better than the Hero Power.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking. It's like, is there a reason not to play the Aspirant here? Are you that afraid of popping the block and then the mage goes for another wave of like a board clear and then you're out? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Maybe he values the Sniper.
Wait. So he can pop the block if he wants, that's for sure.
Yeah, but isn't killing Antonidas better in theory? Actually, you
It
probably
really
go for the
depends.
pop block.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'd pop the block in this position because like the odds of you not being able to do it again next turn are pretty slim, right? Like he has to have like an Ice Bearer and an Ice Block. And you can charge
I
your
think-
druids. Oh man,
I think
this
you
is a
pop-
really tricky spot.
You pop the block without using Force of Nature. You want to keep the Force of Nature in your hand, so you just use a Keeper of the Grove, most likely. Or a Druid of the Claw. It's up to him.
Well,
he has
y-
multiple ways.
Can you do it with Keep of the Grove? I'm looking at 9, 11. Okay, yeah, he'd be fine. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Keep of the Grove is the play. I thought he was one off popping the block with Keeper. I was thinking use the Drew the Claw. Actually, popping with Force might be better because you don't have to attack into the Ice Barrier afterwards. Or you can also not pop the block. I guess you can do that too. Alright, never mind.
Sixo was afraid of letting Adonaides leave because Forsen could stabilize with Alexstrasza, but I'm not sure. It's a really tough turn. It's like a turn that you take like 10 minutes to analyze, and it's so hard to
you have
pull
to
in
be
1
in
minute.
it. Exactly. You have like 1 minute to make the decision. And very often when it comes down to those things that you haven't seen before, you're usually more cautious than otherwise.
Now he can still pop the block, but Forsen has a Med Scientist on the board, and there's no way to pop the block and silence the Scientist. Is there?
Well,
Oh,
no,
actually,
you'd have
there is.
to.
You can double silence. Silence your low tip and silence the Scientist.
Yeah, but he's gonna be on 5, right?
Yeah, so you can just do it of the clone next turn.
Alright.
Maybe I liked
Maybe
that
that
more
was the play,
because
actually. Maybe that was the play. Well, I mean, you're still killing him through Ice Barrier here, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Even if he gets Ice Barrier now with Ice Block, you just play Keeper. The only thing that punishes you is, like, Ice Barrier, Ice Block into Alexstrasza on the following turn, but then he doesn't wipe your board if he does that. So there has to be a mix of Novas, Doomsayer, Secrets into Alex, and then you're probably going to be able to finish him off anyway.
it's very hard to play this if you're Forsen. You're just pressured and pressured and pressured.
Now he's guaranteed an Ice Block at least, right? So that's pretty sweet.
Is it? He could.
Like, he
play
has
as-
2 barriers to play if you want. You have to go Barrier Nova. Like, there's no choice.
I'm pretty sure there were better draws than the second barrier for Forsen.
Oh, Flame Strike does it, but then how do you live? Blizzard? Blizzard would have been better, I think.
Now Sixo just goes for the keeper, procs the block, really safe. And
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not sure
this
what
is what
Forsen can do.
Darnassus Aspirant does. Like, this is what it does. It's such a frustrating card to play against. Because you have to remove it to deny them the permanent ramp, but that takes resources, that takes time, and if they can curve that with an extra Innervate or an extra Wild Growth, then they're just double ramping on you. And because it's a body, it's going to put some damage in.
yeah,
which
now
is
there's
basically
no
what she
way.
wants to do.
Now there's no way for Forsen to get HP and kill the board.
Yeah. Alexstrasza
So-
was the only way, but like even that lost him the game.
Yep.
Heal bot
His mage
maybe.
struggles.
Oh,
Yeah.
hello. The heal bot can't freeze everything, so
He just hopes Sixo doesn't have a second keeper of the grove.
or
It's
swipe.
the best
Yeah,
line of
there's
play.
like no swipe, no keeper, and you would have won this. So Forsen goes down first game against the Druid. I think, however, that this is a pretty good match for the Druid player, so it's not very unexpected. Like, this is pretty much what you're looking for when I think you play Druid, even the classic one. Not even with Darnassus Aspirant, right?
Yeah, I think it's very good for Sisu that he took that game. He needed some morale from yesterday, from what happened
Yeah,
yesterday.
Well, I'm hoping to see the Paladin win, just because, like, everybody seems to be bashing on it that I've seen, right? Like, I've seen so many people say that deck is garbage, but I've actually played a deck like this, and it's way better than people give it credit for. Like, way better. It's not even funny how good it is. And I'm kind of disappointed that it's, like, discredited so much because of his first tournament appearance, you know, and somehow it didn't perform. So I'm really just hoping to see 6-0 just crush somebody with it, like, completely.
He has a lot
that'd
of
be
good
the dream.
matchups. He has a lot of good matchups, indeed. Like, Shaman is probably a favorable matchup. Warrior is actually better than Agro Paladin was before. Agro Paladin is super good. Hunter is good. Zui is really bad and Freeze Mage is really bad. So Sixo doesn't want to face Forsen with his Paladin.
Well, I mean, Forsen has... Yeah. Do you think they're going to stand out Forsen again? I mean, if they do, they risk getting benched.
Actually, now is like the best spot for Sixo to go for the Agro Paladin.
Yeah, look for the Pally, yeah, probably. Because if you look at the way this lines up, if they want to defeat it very nicely, they have to throw in their own Forsen again. And then Team Archon could isolate the other decks a little bit more easily.
Yeah, at the same time, if they expect Forsen to go now again, they can just go with Zalae's Patron. But that's where the mind games kick in, and it's very hard to predict what's gonna happen.
Skaka with the Warrior and Zalae with the Warlock. Alright. All right.
Yeah, at the same
I can
time,
dig
both
that.
teams can just randomize, and then it doesn't matter.
Of course, yeah. You always say that. Like whenever I ask you, hey, what do you think? Yeah, you always like you just shuffle it up, right? Sometimes you randomize, sometimes you pick.
Yeah.
Try to counter pick. So, what do you think are the like? Have you already done most? Like, have you tried out most of the decks that came out since TGT? Like, have you looked at all the possible archetypes that you think are going to be competitive?
Most of them,
Um,
but it's pretty hard because there are so many new cards and new decks appear daily. Like, there's not a refined version of the Paladin deck, there's not a refined
right.
version of the Token Druid deck, and it's very hard to, like, find the best refined versions, and yeah, it'll take a
Yeah,
while.
that's right. I think that's basically what's going to like to make it. It's going to take a long time before we actually see all those decks that seem novel and quote unquote bad, and then they're just going to crush everyone, and we're going to be like, well, this deck is now OP, and we need to nerf it. Yeah, Secret Valley's coming.
I hope so.
Let it be real. Let the mysterious challenger shine a little bit. Don't
Archon
even
got
need.
a really favorable matchup. I think being
Yeah.
Zalay, you keep the Mountain Giant and you keep the Ooze. The Mountain is like one of the best things you can have versus the Patron. Of course, the dream start is going Twilight Drake into Tap Giant. That's like the dream. And then having Ooze for the Death Bite. You just win instantly. As was Kaka, he knows he's facing Handlock and that's an advantage because he can hard mulligan for Emperor and executes and not keep Fiery War Axes. So I expect a pretty good game. Osaka also being one of the best Patron players in the world.
I mean, Zele knows everything about the matchup, right? Like being on the other end of that's the thing is the Zele has played Patron enough that he knows what to expect and he knows how to counter it the best. So he'll know when to time his counters.
Yeah, but at the same time, Osaka played Patron enough to know how to play this matchup too,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it'll
I
be
guess
pretty
it's a
interesting.
matter of so who draws the best hand. But this ooze is a really big deal. Like to be honest, this ooze is going to be pretty meaningful if this bite gets developed, which it will, of course, at some point.
I like the Twilight Drake too, because they're forced to execute it, and then you can just tap into Giant.
Yeah.
And then they try to weapon and try to kill you, you lose, and you win. We see double Inarish from Osaka. That's not the best.
I mean, if you pick up an Acolyte of Pain, it can help a bit, but honestly, unless he picks up like a crazy patron turn, I mean, these are mostly late game cards, or you're trying to go crazy on a push after Death's by development and a pop. But if the patron's not there, then it's not going to do much. Oh wow, yeah, -1 mana Inner Rages. That looks good.
Well, Emperor is like the best card versus Handlock.
Yeah,
It's
of
the card
course.
that wins you the game. Without Emperor, I think you have like a 5 or 10% win rate. Maybe I say really bad numbers, but it's super bad without Emperor. With Emperor, numbers go increasingly high because you can bypass towns and stuff like that.
Well, it's giving you the ability to use those executes and whirlwinds for free, right? Like those are the combo pieces that you need to reduce the cost of, just because of like the fact that sometimes you have to remove 2 taunts at once. Make sure that you have enough mana to put in a Frothing Berserker on top, and that's gonna give you even more damage to push phase. So yeah,
Yeah, you usually need double frotting to kill the Handlocks, and you don't have
pretty
the mana
much.
without the Emperor.
Yeah, I just wonder though if things will change a bit because like Patron is still considered, the deck. But is it a matter of time before something else takes its place? Or is it still gonna? Because I don't see what about Patron is weaker now, right? Like, sure they release Aedric the Pure, sure they release Chillmaw, but I don't think that's remotely enough to stop the deck from doing its thing. So I'm really just not sure what about it is kind of worse now after TGT.
There are a lot of fast decks, and fast decks punish Patron.
Okay, so you think just the speed, like speeding up the metagame would be enough? I
Usually,
mean, Divine
yes.
Shields would do it. Okay, so Divine
But
Shields.
then patrons just start running double ghouls and go full
Yeah,
defensive.
exactly. They just start running more early game taunts, and they compensate to still get to that late game, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I always because it's so flexible. It's such an easy deck to tech properly that once you know what you're up against, you can just modify a few cards here and there, and suddenly your matchup goes up against the entire field that you expect.
I still think that the deck is needed in the meta game because it keeps aggro in check. Like Face Hunter is not that great because of Patron. And yeah.
That's a good point. If it keeps the metagame in check, then sure.
What
Maybe
do you
there's
think
an
of
argument
Zalay's
to be
play?
made for it.
What do you think of
Um,
Zalay's play? I think it's very interesting.
to develop the
Who's
ODUs
over going
here.
for the giant.
Well, that's I mean, you're denying your opponent the ability because you don't have Hellfire, right? So you're denying your opponent the ability to go for Pop Death's Bite with Inner Rage Patron. So maybe that's the idea.
At the same time, he can still play the Giant now. Tap Giant is a line he can have the following turn that is now. So
I'd probably take it. I mean, okay, what's the drawback? Because I guess if he held on to an Execute and didn't kill your Drake, then maybe that's a little bit worse. Maybe you could play your second Drake to really force the Execute.
yeah, the drawback is if your opponent has the second Death Bite, then he can kill you with Frothings because you weren't too aggressive. But I guess that almost never happens, so you just go for the Ooze. At the same time, Osaka has a really powerful Emperor next turn, and if he picks up a Frothing Berserker, the damage will start to grow.
It's all about whether or not the Giant survives, though. So if he goes for the Drake, he's definitely just trying to pile on the damage on the Warrior. Like, little by little, forcing him to answer. I think the Giant was more pressure. Like, obviously. I think it's self-evident. Now, Osaka playing the Emperor here isn't even good, so he's going to have to wait a little longer. I don't think it does enough just yet. Because you're still looking for those combo pieces to win the game, don't you?
He just plays it and hopes Zale doesn't have Mortal Coil, which Zale has.
2 of.
Usually if you get the cost reduction on Warsong, it's enough. And especially he got it also on the Ghoul and Balrage. He can use the Balrage next turn to cycle and get to the Frothing, and then if he gets Frothing and the Whirlwind effect, maybe another Frothing, having already execute, he can threaten lethal. That's his only line of play right now, and he took it.
I have to expect a trade. So, do you think... Wait. I think Giant Sun Fury is fine here. Like, Giant Sun Fury with a coil trade on the 4-3.
Yeah, I like that.
Like that's probably the most consistent play, because you're forcing him literally to have the weapon, the 2 executes, and some kind of weight to push for your face. And even then, like you still have time to tap into those Moltens.
The question is,
still. What's up?
the question is, what Giant do you trade? What Drake do you trade? Oh, he decides to go for another play.
So doesn't want to play the Giant this turn, or just without the... Does he think his opponent's playing Brawl? Is that a thing? You know, Zele is playing this Mountain Giant so cautiously.
I don't
so
like
he's
this play.
really trying to dodge the execute.
I think the play was trading the 4-9 Drake and using Mortal Coil, and then playing the Giant and some Fury on the Giant and on the 4-4 Drake, and then push 7 to the face. He would put Osaka at 15, and he would have 16, 18, 21 damage, so he would win next turn and have a more powerful board, while now he's really, really weak to Patrons, and he doesn't have a Hellfire.
Well, that's not what that's what I find a little... Yeah, the Shadow Flame's going to carry, but I find it a little weird, the way that this Giant was never played.
He decided to not threaten lethal for some reason. I don't know the reason yet. Maybe he has a reason that we didn't think of.
So, I mean, you almost want to play Ghoul, Whirlwind, Balrage. God, that's horrible. What about the Inner Rages?
It's a very bad play, but you have to do it. That's
that is desperation at its best, right? Like, I've never seen something so desperate.
That is the difference between good players and very good players. Very good players try to win even the games where they have 1% to win them. And Osaka is trying to do this right now. He's trying to pull the impossible. Like, if you get to win a game where you have 1%, it still makes your win rate bigger. And you have to go for it every time.
He did it last time, I think. There was a game that everybody thought he'd lost. Like, completely lost. And he salvaged it from the brink. Like, wait, no, it was against Savich, I think. A Mech Shaman game that he played.
It was versus Show. It was Mech Shaman versus Show's Patron, and he still lost that to Show's top deck. But he stabilized.
Right. But he stabilized, and he was about to win. Like, the unwinnable. That was literally a 1%, I think. Like, the streak of events that could have led to that win was so improbable. But he did it. So I think you're right. Like, it's definitely a trademark of a good player, or a great player, in fact. That just, you know, you take those small edges where you find them, even if they look like nothing.
And now Zale is not in the best spot.
Yeah, he could have been, like, just killing his opponent outright, almost.
Now he could kill him. He could just owl the town. Even like trade the ooze because he would still have the ooze. So
No, even if Patron comes out though, well, if Patron comes out, yeah, actually, if Patron comes out, that's pretty brutal.
how is frothing? Is that close to lethal?
Actually, it might with the double inner rage with Ghoul and
If he had one
Slam.
more whirlwind, it would probably be lethal. But because he
Yeah.
doesn't have the whirlwind, he is probably not
Well,
lethal.
the Ghoul is close. The Ghoul could attack into something. Slam could get you a whirlwind. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So you can't play Slam, otherwise you can't draw. Ugh. Okay. Well, he's gonna have to do the math on this because definitely the War Song Frothing Ghoul is the closest to a lethal as I can spot.
He has 17 damage, I think, after my first calculation. It's really close.
He's trying to find the execute here.
I think the most damage possible was Warsong Commander, Frothing, trade the Ghoul into the 3-2, then Fiery Warrax the 1 to Slime, and then double Inner Rage or Frothing.
You're frothing and go face, yeah.
And you
I think that
have
was the
17
closest to it.
damage.
So he's digging for that second execute. If he finds it, there's actually a chance he stabilizes. Alright, that's not it. He's gonna have to play the Armor Smith with the Ghoul here probably. Or just the Ghoul alone. But it's not gonna be enough. Well, it's a pretty lopsided matchup for Handlock. Going into it, we pretty much had a good idea that it was likely that Team Archon was gonna take this one.
Yes, Zalay played it safe, and he managed to win. But he
Yeah.
almost lost to the power of the Patron deck. What do you expect in the next games?
I mean, I'd like to see the Shaman come out, but if we look at the lineups, you've got Team Archon. They can actually get a check mark on 6-0 if they decide to throw in the Paladin. And I don't think it's that unreasonable to throw it. Like, what matchup are you really looking to target? I guess now that Forsen's back in the Forsen's back in the lineup, like he didn't get benched at all since he didn't send them out. Maybe it's not the optimal time for the Secret Pally. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky.
At the same time, what do you expect from your opponents? Do you expect them to go Chucky because they already went with Forsen and Oskaka? Or do you expect them to just try their chance with Oskaka again? But you usually don't want to get your Patron player benched. It's like the worst thing possible. So I don't think Osaka will go again. I really think Chucky or Forsen will go. So what's the best deck versus Chucky and Forsen?
Aggro Pally could be fine. I mean, if Shocky's running Aggro Pally,
Yes.
that's probably a good deck to pull out right now then. Because against Patron, you can punish them by being super quick depending on how your deck is built. Against another another Aggro Pally, you can probably pull off sort of a mirror match, right, in a way. Against the Rogue, maybe it's a bit tricky if they get good Blade Flurries and Fan of Knives early. But usually you can snowball them damage-wise. If they have too big of a hand, you can abuse them with Divine Favor. Freeze Mage is a bit weird though, but...
It's funny because Rogue is really insane versus the Secret Paladin, but it's not that great versus Aggro Paladin. While Secret Paladin beats Aggro Paladin usually
it beats
in the mirror match.
Yeah, exactly. It's got the
I
edge
think-
because it sticks on the board a bit more with bigger minions that are affected by just one cost spells instead of having to play a Blessing of Kings or something.
Yep. I think that if they go with 6-0, they will hope for Chucky and not for Forsen or Skaka. Or
Yeah.
Shaman is okay. Best
mean,
might
I'd
be
be-
even to go with Patron from Zalay. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he did win with the Handlock, so if you queue in the Patron, you've got a good matchup against the field just because it's Patron, and then you can probably take it. I mean, Forsen is likely playing a Zoo deck, right? Is he?
Yeah, he's playing Zoo.
Yeah,
I think the best matchup Forsenboys has versus Patron is their own Patron. Maybe Shaman too. So that's the two decks Osaka plays.
Yeah.
So unless they want to risk Osaka getting benched, they'll probably not use him. And therefore, Archon might have to go for Patron to just secure another win.
Alternatively, I think Team Archon, like there's been a huge edge that we've seen over the past few months in the Team Archon, in the Team League Championships. We've seen players try to get one win on each player just to make sure that the bench rule never applies and they can't get isolated at any point. So maybe Firebat will come out with either of his decks. But I don't know if Forsenboys, like, it depends. You'd have to analyze the trends of teams. Do they like to go for that, spread the wins or lock down players, by just going check a mark on one of them and then keep going with two guys? All right, looks like it's going to be a Firebat play trying to get a win on one of three players. Shockey's gonna be playing his probably aggro pally.
Yes, each team played each player until now. They didn't play twice. That's quite interesting. Chucky needs a really powerful hand to do something against the rogue, but if Firebat manages to get a heal, he's kind of favorite. This matchup can go either way. Like, Chucky can just use all his hand and then play Divine Favor, and Firebat can just find his heal and Fan of Knives and insta-win. So, I think it's like the perfect 50-50 matchup.
Yeah, it's a pretty good coin flip to have.
But it's not really a coin flip because every mistake you make can cost you the game.
Right,
like
of course. Like, if you go in blind, right? You go in blind, equal skill, both players are kind of playing optimally, then
yeah.
let's say it's a 50-50. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see if any, like, can you spot big mistakes? Like, do you think, like, what kind of mistake does Aggro Pally make against a rogue player? Like, is there ever a point where, well, I mean, not drawing Lotheb is a misplay, of course, but that's that's one that Shockey's already got under control.
Oh, I forgot, Chucky runs the slower aggro poly with Politic Shredder. I'm not sure if this version is that good versus Rogue as the other one. Maybe it's better than the Worgen one, but it's like worse than the Hunted Keeper one, I think. Also,
So
something really
like,
interesting.
flood the board with sticky minions. Go ahead.
Something really interesting. Firebat kept the teacher in the starting hand. What do you think about that? Does he just want to like overextend the board and win afterwards?
One of the things I like about Valak Teacher is that against Paladin, if you've been able to control their boards somehow, they have to have Truth over Champion followed by Consecration, right? Like in that order to deal with it super effectively, or have a 1-1. But if you've played your Rogue deck properly, then you haven't allowed them to keep the 1-1s. So
yes, and
I think it's a pretty good idea.
They don't really want to use the 2 silver to kill the teacher. They want to use it for the face.
Exactly.
True Silver is like twice.
True Silver, yeah.
Yeah, True Silver is twice Arcane Golem.
Oh man, for 4 mana, you don't give your opponent mana crystal. That sounds good.
You also heal yourself.
That sounds
the best
balanced.
card to race. Yeah. Chucky's hand is terrible.
Yeah, he even silences the nothing on that guy.
Both players didn't have 2 big power plays. Like Firebat played the 3-2 for no buff on the weapon, and Chucky used the owl for no advantage.
Yeah, I think Firebat's in a really good position here. Unless Shockey picks up like a crazy sweep to wipe the board, like a Consecration that's going to do something, which doesn't look like it's going to happen now. This is looking very favored for Firebat. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Chucky's draws are really subpar. You don't want to see Arcus when you have no board.
Yeah.
I think Chucky's version is super bad versus Rogue. Even if Rogue gets no heal, they can just destroy your board.
Well, it's kind of like when you play mid-range Hunter against Rogue, right? Like, you'd rather play something a bit faster because your mid-range, like, you get the bigger minions that you invest so much into, you get them sapped, and you have no way to just completely come back in just one sweep.
Yeah, Hybrid is so much better because you have Arcane Golems and you can just push a lot more damage. And you don't have slow cards like Savannah, so they don't really have what to sap. Shredder is like the best sap target. Being Chucky, do you low tip here, or do you go for the Squire play?
I like the Squire play a lot, because you can kill that Valid Teacher without investing anything else into it, and you still keep 2 minutes that are pretty sticky, right?
Yeah,
just for the removal purpose. It sucks that you're not pushing face, but...
It's also probably the only time trading is the correct play as Aggro Paladin.
I know. I'm guessing we're gonna see a Fan of Knives.
How good is Sap on a taunt?
So you sap... Well, you have to pop the Shredder at this stage, right? Like, you can't just give it back to him and have him replay with the dude. Or could you? I think it would be a little... It would feel a little awkward to do that. If you sap, you can't play anything else, right? So...
You can Fan of Knives.
Yeah, I think Fan of Knives would be my play of choice.
How is Azure Drake into top deck prep?
If that's what you think your best odds of winning are, like your best odds, then I guess go for it. Oh, Succubus is a pretty tough card to find here. The Firebat's gonna take it in stride, just drops a Lotheb. Not a bad idea. It's actually pretty good. The thing is, it's gonna get countered by its own Lotheb, and then Pally can push for quite a bit of damage. Actually, that's a huge lead that Shocky's taking by countering with his own Lothab.
Unfortunately, he cannot Blessing of Might. But it's still like a really good spot for Chucky now, somehow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, this is a crazy good spot for Shocky.
He made the worst hand into a pretty good hand.
The Succubus made the worst hand into a pretty good board. I think the Succubus was a big deal because I think Firebat was aiming to use Phantom Knives to remove a smaller minion with like 2 health or 3 health. Like pretty
That's
fast.
one off.
Of course.
One off.
Yeah, I'll just push. Push it! You're gonna top deck True Silver next turn, you know it.
Don't you play Shielded Minibot over pushing 3 damage just for...
Yeah, I
better
might
board?
play... Yeah, I probably play Shield Minibot, Kings, and then Blessing.
Let me think.
Probably you're fine with just pushing full face. Let's see what...
I mean, I'm fine with every line of play he takes, but I don't mind the Shield Minibot, just because it survives like a Blade Flurry. Like, he has to tank it with the Drake if he wants.
Do you ever consider trading the Drake here? No, right?
No, I don't think so. No, I actually thought about it for a minute.
It's very bad against Blade Flurry. If you trade
Well, that's
the
a
Drake.
Blade Flurry. That's a pretty sweet Blade Flurry, because now he can wipe the board and get the Blade Flurry. He's still dead to True Silver Champion.
And he needs to tank the... Minibot.
Does he
Right.
want to? You're dead to Consec. You can just attack with the Drake.
You have to attack with the Drake in the Argus too. You cannot use it otherwise,
Yeah,
right?
do you ever use this? Or do you go Dagger, Phantom Knives, Blade Flurry? Oh man, that's so awful. I mean, if he picks up a prep, he can actually Dagger, Tinkers, Blade Flurry.
Yeah, but without the prep, how does he do it?
Yeah, well, he has to top deck the prep.
Oh,
Actually,
has
no,
to
he couldn't even...
snap? What? Wait. Oh, no.
He's gonna make the trade. He's gonna have to make the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now if he picks up a prep though, if he picks up a prep, he can go Assassin's Blade, prep, Tinkers, and push for a lot of damage. Uh-oh. Better stab that thing before disasters happen.
Chucky has like a lot of draws for lethal.
Yeah.
Through
and now
Silvers,
Firebat.
Arcane Golems.
Whoa.
Oh, he got the prep.
Yeah, but now he's dead to the 1/1.
You just sap the Leper now.
And then you Assassin's Blade kill the 1/1, and the next turn you go prep, Tinkers.
Nah, you just go
You
for
have to kill that
face.
1/1, right? That there's no way there's no way he goes for that 1/1. I don't see him doing that. But if what's in your opponent's hand is not an Arcane Golem, it's not a Wolf Rider, it's not a True Sword Champion, it's not a Hammer of Wrath, it's not a Consecration, like, it's got to be a buff. So you can tell that it's probably Blessing of Might or Blessing of Kings. As awkward and weird as that sounds.
It could also be Divine Favor, but he would have used it last time.
Yeah, probably. I think that Divine Favor was too good not to take. Firebat's gotta have to push face, right? There's...
I killed the 1/1, as you said.
I mean, I guess you can kill the 1/1 and then like sprint at the backstab or stab number 2.
As you said, if you take it from a rational point of view, what can that card in the hand be? It has to be a buff. It's not. It cannot be anything else, right?
Maybe there's something else that could have been that I didn't think through. Maybe you kept the Consecration there because you want to surprise your opponent with a kill with it, right? Instead of playing it just for 2.
Does Chucky
but
have Consecration in that deck? I don't think he even has Consecration.
I don't think so either. Maybe it was like, I don't know, a Deathwing in Aggro Pally. I have no clue. But yeah, I think if you look at all the cards it could have been, I think Firebat had a pretty good idea what it was. But that's going to give a win for Forsenboys, right? So Shocky gets his first win. Maybe gets the check mark soon enough. Now I want to see the other Paladin. I'd like Sixo to bring his own out. Come on, Sixo, bring it out.
He might still be afraid to play it because he got so much trash talk from the community for losing that games.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you mentioned there were a few misplays because he was tired, and that can definitely play a big role in your ability to pilot the deck perfectly, right? Like, there's a huge
does-
difference.
It was a blessing of Kings that he could have played on a Divine Shielded
Shielded
mini
Minibot.
bot,
Yeah,
and he
that was the
didn't.
one.
But still, it's not easy to play under so much pressure in this kind of tournament.
Yeah, and I think the fact that his deck was ridiculed really doesn't help too much. Like, that's really the biggest, like, I think the the crux of this entire thing is that that's the point that might make him hesitate to even play it again. But I really like the deck, and I think it's gonna win. My hope is that it does. I hope it doesn't come to like Ixo getting reverse sweeped again as the last player standing on Team Archon, because that would be devastating.
I think the deck is awful versus Freeze Mage, mediocre versus Zoo, and in rest he has pretty good matchups. So if he queues that two matchups in a row, he might be so tilted that he loses the other matchups too.
Well, I mean, it's like every deck that tries to contest the board against Freeze Mage and Zoo, right? Like, you're always losing the board game. Like, Freeze Mage will punish you for the most part. Zoo will generally outboard you. It's very hard to just have a better board than a Zoo. So that's the reason, for the most part, why that deck suffers. But yeah, as you said, if you can just get into a Hunter, or Shaman, or even Patron in a weird way, like, you don't really want to run into Patron too much, I think. But it's still fine.
It's better than the old aggro paladin because you have get down. You can play Second Keeper get down, and then they try to fire War Axe it, and then the 2-1 blocks it, and then you play under Secret, you get her out of reach from the Fiery War Axe, and you just noble it with Divine Shields and buffs.
I suspect maybe like the optimal way to build that deck might be to maybe ditch the Secret Keepers. Like, you can try the same deck with, you know, the whole play a lot of dudes approach. Right, like you just play all the dudes in the world, and you just play secrets on top with Monsieur's Challenger, and you ditch the Secret Keeper. So you can kind of, and you play like 6 secrets instead of 8. He is playing 8, right? I'm not mistaken.
I think he's playing 9. He also has.
Okay, yeah. You can reduce like a lot of the secrets. You can cut quite a few of them. It'll lower like the bad draws. You just put more dudes, like crazy amount of them, and you'll get crazy pushes with the Warhorse Trainer and the Quartermaster and the Silverhand Regent, even replenishing your board on a whim. It's pretty interesting. All right, so Zele versus Shocky. Warrior coming out against the Hunter.
That's the best matchup.
4.
For Warrior, of course.
Yeah.
Like, Hunter is so hard to win it as a Hunter. You just have to hope they don't have it, but somehow they always have it.
Does he have the Cruel Taskmaster? Does he have the Cruel Taskmaster? Oh, yes, he does. All right, does he have the War Axe? Oh, yes, he does. Does he have the Armor Smith and the Acolyte of Pain? I guess he does. Oh, man. I saw all of this. It hurt.
I already have a flashback from 2 hours ago when I played it.
Yeah. It's like, you're gonna have to undergo, like, trauma therapy. Better do it quick. It's happening again tomorrow, RDU. You're going back in for another round.
Yeah. It's a really hard decision for Zale. Does he keep the Frothing Berserker too? He can get punished by... Wow, he keeps Patron too. That is super greedy. Okay, let's see how that goes.
I think what his line of thinking is probably that Fiery War Axe can carry him to where Grim Patron will be useful, but like, does he need to draw it that badly? Like, is it so important to find that you're gonna keep it in your opening hand? Is what I find odd.
I know, I never kept Patron versus Hunter, and I have a pretty good percentage versus them. I don't know, I'm really curious how this goes, because Ale is known as one of the best Patron players in the world. So I think he has an idea of why he's keeping the Patron. At the same time, Chucky is one of the best hunters in the world.
He's got a good idea why he gets 2 jugglers in his opening hand.
Versus the Fiery War Axe.
Of course.
They're not the best. Unstable Ghoul.
I don't know how it's possible that, like, Patron will cut Fiery War Axe and they'll still get it. Like, they'll cut one and they'll still always have it when I play Hunter. It's the curse, I guess, of playing against
back in the day, when I was playing Zoo, I knew that the chance of opponent having Fiery War Axe was 50%, that I tracked it, and they would have it. They had it like 90-something%. So I'm not sure. Something is wrong.
Oh my god! If that's actually the case, that's amazing. We have to reproduce those findings with proper methodology. Maybe we'll find the exact same thing is true.
Maybe I was just biased. But
yeah, you just stopped tracking the games where it didn't matter, or like you just snowball. You're like, wait, he didn't have War Axe there. Doesn't matter. I'm sure he had it in his hand. All right, let's add this. All right, so the Frothing Berserker is getting punished a little bit, but he can still hold on to it if he hopes. If he hopes to eat up the Freezing Trap with the Unstable Ghoul, for instance. You have to slam this, right?
Yeah, slam a stable ghoul, and
Or do you not slam because it's irrelevant?
I think you slam. You slam the juggler
Okay.
for sure. Because you want the ghoul to survive so that you can get the ghoul frozen so you can attack frotting to the face.
Yeah. And the Ghoul Frozen is still fine because it's going to be a useful AoE later.
Yeah.
It's pretty expensive, but there's going to be an AoE later that you can set up.
You can even replay it to challenge the Shredder if you want to. It's not that bad. If you attack with the ghoul, you have to replay it to protect the Frothing Berserker.
Yeah, otherwise there's really no purpose to attacking with it. Like, to attacking anything, in fact. I think
The other
it's
line of play, you can play Nomish Inventor, see what you draw, and then pass, he attacks the ghoul, and then you use the Nomish to proc the freezing. But if he
You
has
could-
something else...
You could use Patron. Like, you attack with Frothing, you lose it, send it back to your hand, play Patron, smash yourself into the Shredder, and then lose the game from here on out because you made a crappy play. Because you just get like a 3-2 and a 3-3.
That's definitely not the line of play to do in such a prestigious tournament.
Alright, so apparently Patron number 2 gets picked up.
That's one of the reasons why you don't keep Patron number 1. But I told you, I'm really curious how this goes for Zalay. I never did
Did
it
he
myself.
think that was explosive? That must have, because his line of play indicated that he thought it was explosive trap, right? This looked awfully exactly like an explosive trap play.
Yeah, but you scouted them in the other games, and I think he went almost deck out, Chucky. Like he played a hunter like 4 times yesterday versus us. I think you know the 2 secrets are freezing, and if you know they're freezing, you never attack there. You just hold the ghoul. Here as Chucky, you just YOLO Arcane Golem. Do it, Chucky.
Well, I mean, what do you get punished by? Like,
Second slam, second fiery war axe. Not even second fiery war axe if he tanks it again. So second slam.
yeah, your second slam is the only thing because it's gonna like allow him to remove your stuff without taking damage at all.
This is already a really bad matchup. I think you just YOLO as much as
You shove
possible
it.
in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
you just
all in.
try all your outs.
Well, I mean, Shocky is gonna be able to deal with the ghoul if it comes down to tank the trap. Okay, Azalea goes for the execute.
I like the execute there.
Ancient Watcher is
Oh.
no help, but the Iron Beak Owl allows him to punch for 4. Iron Beak Owl with a new battle cry from Gormok, deal 4 damage. Easy life.
It's really funny because Ancient Watcher is the worst possible minion to get in every class, excepting the classes that run silences.
Right.
In Rogue, it's actually even worse than having nothing because he can get oiled.
Yeah, and then you kind of waste the buff, and you never get anything done with it.
But in Hunter, when you have double owl in your deck, I think Ancient Watcher is pretty sick.
And now Shocky is going to be able to remove both patrons using the Ancient Watcher if he wants to. Or he can
Yeah, he
also
just-
go...
Glaivezuka owl. No, you owl and Glaivezuka. You owl and Glaivezuka, of course.
Yeah, probably.
Easy.
You can't do it in the other order. Oh man, this is beautiful.
And
I don't think
now-
I've ever seen anything quite like it. This is magnificent.
It's a pretty unique scenario.
Yeah, you can punish for 5 and kill the patron. Like, look at this! I can't even believe this Ancient Watcher! Shocky winning with the most passive card in the game, turning it into a phase tool. Definitely Shocky playing this deck, I can tell.
I like that play actually more than trading. I really like that play.
Yeah, it's much more
it's-
aggressive. Your quick shot's gonna be mostly dead, right?
Yeah, it's a really Chucky play that shows why he's such a good aggro player.
Yeah. Keep the 5/5. It's a low theb body, right? Like you have a low
Yeah.
theb on the board that can attack repeatedly. Why
And you
would
already
not
saw the
keep it-
execute. You already saw the execute. You already saw the slam. Like, how is he gonna deal with the 5/5? 5 HP is really hard to deal with by patron. And now Zalay is still having the patron that he kept in the starting hand, exactly in the same spot, in the left hand, in the left part of his hand,
Yeah.
waiting to be activated.
Never lucky. Never activated.
Do you
Wait,
play
do you
it?
play Gruul Whirlwind Battle Rage?
Nah. The play you can consider is patron whirlwind, and then you just throw away your patron just to survive. Because
hope that they
otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, I don't see a line.
He's gonna have... Okay, wait, is he hoping to find the... Like a card draw with Battle Rage? Force his opponent to trade. He's trying to force his opponent to trade, but no one will trade here, will they? That's such an awful card for Zele.
Shaki can even go Owl, Arcane Golem, and push full face.
Yeah, that's it. Smork it. You got it. Like this is it. The moment of truth. One owl to
Arcane
rule them
Goal,
all.
Arcane Goal and Kill Command is off curve. If you owl it, you're only afraid that he can Battle Rage, but even if he Battle Rages, what can he draw?
Like double shield
Like,
block. That's the worst. But then again, you still keep your board, so you just slowed down his death. I mean, do you even silence this? Because you'll need it against the ghoul that you sent back to his hand, right? Like, you need to keep the owl for the kill command guaranteed lethal.
oh,
Like, unless he gets the armor smith.
yeah, I like this line too. I like the face.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I like the way Chucky faces his problems in this game.
Damn, that's smooth.
Now Zalek needs
Nice.
to throw something from the Battle Rage.
That's not a bad card, but it won't draw.
He can
I
clear.
mean, he might think he's alive, right? Like you slam, you trade, you armor up, and then you play something.
How
you
did
play
he
a
double
full
Krolta's Master? I think I saw him cutting armors for Krolta's Master. Think about how it would have been if those scrolls were armor smiths.
Yeah, it would actually been like it would allow him to live actually. The double kill task armor up.
He still goes for the winning line of play.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the winning line of play, but unfortunately for him, Shockey's got the Beast plus kill command plus hero power, which is exactly the lethal he needed, and he's got 1 mana excess that he doesn't even need to use here.
He got a creeper too. But
Yeah,
that doesn't
kind of like
matter.
you earlier, except this time it matters. Alright, so it turns out Shockey is going to give the equalization for Forsenboys. So even though Team Archon had the lead, now it's kind of back to status quo. We'll have to see who gets the... I mean, based on the lineups, is there anyone you'd assume like has a really weak deck that's going to get punished really severely by the entirety of the opponent's lineups?
I need to see
Or
the
is-
decks before.
Alright,
I forgot what
you
they
could bring
run.
up the...
I
you
know
bring up
it's
the lineups
usually
again.
Yeah, I know it's usually not that great to go 2-0 like Chucky did, because now his team risks being benched way more, and if they get benched, they can be easily countered unless they have the classes perfectly distributed. Like usually, if the patron player has also the worst class with the patron, you can afford him getting benched and stuff like that. Archon has a better win distribution, but looking at the matchups, I don't know how good Sixto's Paladin is now that Chucky won his games, because his favorable matchups were versus Chucky.
Yeah, and they're all gone now. Sixto's gonna have to try to like pick up a win against something. I mean, he could still do it against the Shaman, right? Like, is that still possible? I mean, he could still run into a Skaka.
It's still a very hard matchup. It's not as easy as Chucky's decks would have been. Chucky also runs No Unleash the Hounds in the Hunter deck, so the Paladin could just overextend for days. And he also runs Consecration in the Paladin, so that was like super easy. And then the Aggro Paladin Mirror, you probably win it because of the secrets. You can manipulate the board with the get downs. And seeing that Sixto lost the best matchups, I don't see his Paladin in a really good spotlight.
And there's always a chance we've seen. The thing is, the deck that he's running is very polarized. It's a deck that has some really, really bad matchups at the moment. Like, until it gets refined. Like, I think the deck itself, the idea behind the deck, like Secret Paladin, I think is a deck that's waiting to just break, just break the gates and let hell loose. What I'm wondering is, if it's not refined, is it even worth bringing, right? Because the type of deck that, like, I can't fault him for bringing the deck. But what I wonder is whether or not it's a wise choice and when it's so untested, perhaps.
Oh, it's a really risky choice, but we saw that from other teams too. Like
yeah,
we also
did
have
see
some
Eloise
risky
with
decks.
the Fist of Jaraxxus Zoo.
Yeah, that too. Firebat wants to face Osaka's Shaman and Forsen's Zoo with both his decks, but he doesn't really want to face the Freeze Mage and the Patron Warrior. Sixto doesn't really want to face anything at all, but Shaman is pretty decent.
The tiebreakers don't really matter here, right? Like this is either you win the game and you move on, or you don't and you're out. So the question of whether or not, like at this point, the only thing that matters for Sixo is whether or not they're able to isolate his matchup. That's it. Like, are we able to take out, like to let Forsen win with Freeze Mage and Warlock against our decks, so that you can be guaranteed to maybe go up against Shaman. Like, it's a pretty tricky situation because it's really hard. Because in order for Zixo to get a good matchup, his teammates need to lose against Forsen twice. And
Well, you can just beat Forsen and then he still has his decks locked. You don't
yeah,
really
you have to
give him
bench
wins.
him, but you have to have them make that mistake.
Yeah.
Or you beat Forsen once, and then they won't send him out again. Basically, yeah.
I obviously think the better game plan for Archon is to just bench Forsen, then try. Then
How
just
do you
give
do
each
that?
the
Do you just
wins.
like do you bribe him so he just shows up twice in a row and like loses to your decks?
Well, there is a big chance they show up twice in a row because if you always go
He wants
one
to
by
target.
one, you'll be predictable.
Oh
I'm
man.
not sure. Both teams have really hard decision picking the decks, and
Yeah, there's
they're
no
still
like, there's no like clear cut decision to make here, right? Like that's the thing that makes this so difficult. There's no
just
clear cut advantage for either team, I can tell.
yeah, just go take your die and roll it.
Well, Firebat's gonna go up against the Freeze Mage from Forsen with his Rogue. Oh, the game's already underway. Well underway, actually. Wow.
Oh, turn 5.
Get in the middle of
Interesting.
this.
Okay,
Well,
missing
sorry
the
for the
early
delay,
game.
guys. We don't know which cards were played exactly. We had some problems with the disconnections on the admin side. We'll try to resume and pick it up from here. So we've missed out on definitely a few cards that were thrown away, like or played that just got lost. There's 2 secrets on the board. I have to assume Mad Scientists were played.
I am ready to learn.
But then again, they might have just been hardcasted.
I am ready.
It's probably the only game I see from Forsen where he plays Freeze Mage and he doesn't draw his secrets. So I'm really looking forward to how this plays.
Oh, you're totally right. But the thing is now, with the Doomstar getting sapped, that's a pretty tricky spot to navigate because you have no way to really threaten anything. Like if you play Emperor, it's cute, it's good, it's also very good. But your opponent's hand is full, and if you're not removing this teacher, it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, Firebat has also a lot of damage to push next turn.
Yeah,
With
a
oil,
crazy
double
amount.
poison.
It's a crazy amount of damage. Oh, Emperor falls down. It's gonna force a response, but I think Firebat will handle it very easily. No issue there.
Yeah, just backstab and trade a bit. Oh, he can also like Blade Flurry now. Is Blade Flurry a better line than backstabbing?
I'm actually wondering, because if you Blade Flurry, then maybe you're not able to do that to a bigger target later. And you have so much weapon damage in your hand right now that you could probably keep the Blade Flurry for when it's going to remove a minion and maybe pop a secret, for instance.
It's really hard to say because Blade Flurry fits the curve perfectly. Almost perfectly. And it's a really clean kill on the Emperor Torison without you taking damage.
Yeah, I think he'll go for it. It looks like he's going to, because if he caps this at 5 damage, then he's definitely aiming for crazy oil later. And he thinks this is good enough. And honestly, at this point it is. Even if a Flame Strike comes down, right, from Forsen, your teacher lives. So you're still getting another wave.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And now Forsen draws all his minions. So when he doesn't draw his secrets, he draws all the minions and no spell.
Exactly when he doesn't need them. That's right. That's exactly right.
I like playing one Doomsayer. You force him to deal with it.
Oh, will he
and,
even bother? Well, I mean, I
why
guess
not?
at this point he will.
Hmm.
Because I'm
Actually-
looking at Firebat's hand, and look at that burst. Like, look at the amount of damage sitting there. It's actually quite impressive. He can kill it very easily through a Blade Flurry and wipe his enemy board as well.
There are some reasons to let the Doomsayer alive because you deny the Acolyte draws. But at the same time, having the 100% oil, you really want to push as much damage as possible and force him to have the answer. Giving Forsen one more draw shouldn't be a problem, I think, in this spot.
Yeah, when you've got the South Sea deckhand on the back end, to use a second oil on too, like, you know your damage is coming out like crazy next turn. And the turn after, and the turn after.
Yeah, next turn he carries perfectly into Dagger Up, Deckhand, Oil, Eviscerate, if he needs to use all the damage. Healbot is a really interesting draw. Is it good enough?
For this turn, I don't think so. I might
think if
consider
you-
Alex, but
No, you just go Blizzard Doomsayer, and then you go Alex yourself, and then you go Healbot yourself, and you win, right? Unless the
I think
rogue
the
finds...
double heal. No, you're right. The double heal really denies your opponent the ability to kill you twice, basically. Because they'll get one ice block, but then if you've blizzarded their entire board, unless they repopulate like massively, like a crazy play here from Firebat, we need to top deck Lotheb. Like if you expect to get wiped off the board, it would do a lot of work because you could guarantee to push.
Now T-Check is also gonna act against Firebat. If he hits the oil perfectly on the deckhand, he would have 13 damage.
Time runs out on me.
He just needs 2 right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be able to just do whatever. SI7 combo ideally, yeah.
Do you have enough to
that's-
kill the Doomsayer and proc the block without
Actually,
getting lucky?
Uh,
Because that's what you want.
no, I don't see it. I don't see it because if you eviscerate, then you're 2 off. You know, you're still 2 man, like 3 man. You're 1 man off basically. You need just a tiny bit more damage. You
Actually,
can't
you
use a
can, you
South
can.
Sea. You'd have to
You
go
can
for
without-
South Sea.
You can with Saucy. You just eviscerate and weapon the Doomsayer. And it doesn't matter if the Saucy is buffed, you still proc the block.
So he's gonna go for it.
Yeah. You kill the Doomsayer and you proc the block 100%. No matter where the oil lands. I think this is definitely the play.
I'm ready to learn.
Does it help it that much if it hits on the deckhand? I don't think so.
Too soon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all actually.
Forsen cannot even have Extraza in this spot, right? You see that on
No,
board
it's
there?
it's the typical case of when you're freeze mage and you're trying to get, you know, the survival. You're in survival mode, but you have no secrets, no mad scientists on the board. So it's, yeah. And what can you do? I mean,
Frostbolt
heal bot. You have to heal
Sure.
bot. You have to ping, and you have to frostbolt. So that's giving you quite a few plays that keep you alive, in theory. There's gonna
Or go
be
for
what
the-
4 on the dagger, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 in your opponent's
I
like
wonder.
board. If you heal bot, frostbolt, ping.
He could also go for the vintage play of frostbolting the mad scientist to get the secret out.
That is so old. That is such an old reference.
Yeah.
Oh man. It was a great play though. I mean, it still works. The thing is, does it win you the game? Because I mean, when he did it, it mattered. In this case, it just doesn't. Like you
It's
get a
obviously
secret,
not
you're
as-
still dead.
Yeah, it's obviously not as good as going healbot and just frostbolting
Yeah, of course.
teacher into
Time
thinking.
runs out on me.
And it's a flashy, interesting play.
The thing is, it's gonna save you once in a while. It's a type of play that will be helpful, but it's not going to be useful every time. All right,
Fireball
so
needs 1 damage.
yeah, 1 off lethal, and there it is. There's
Sometimes
the damage
lucky.
he was looking for. And that's gonna be it. Forsen will go down. And he doesn't seem happy about that. Poor Forsen.
I wouldn't be happy either. Like you
Never
saw
lucky.
that. I also had some facial expressions.
Yeah, you did. You most definitely. If you go watch, like the poster seemed like it was accompanying you in the disbelief, like the Dr. House poster or whatever it is. The face is good. All right, so that's gonna be 3-2 in favor of Team Archon. Shocky has a check mark on Forsenboys' side, and Forsen, if he goes out again, could get benched. So maybe they'll decide to send out a Skaka. And if they do, then Team Archon knows that, and maybe knows that, and then he can try to target it. Maybe Forsenboys will randomize and go again with Forsen. And then Team Archon's mind games will do nothing unless they win.
Yeah, it's a really complicated situation. I'm not sure. If it goes to 6-0, having to win with a Paladin, that would be so heartbreaking if he loses again like 4 times in a row. Like, I think there were decks in this stage 2 playoff, phase 2 playoff, sorry, that were more deserving to go 0-6 or 0-5 than his Secret Paladin, which is actually a really solid deck. It's more solid than other decks that were played. And actually won, even from the first try sometimes. No shots, of course.
Well, it's looking like, I mean, this is a patron from Oskaka. You got patron from Zalay. If you run into Mage, You're still okay. It's gonna be a long game. Zalay is very good at playing that matchup. He's actually turn one. He already knows where he wants to go. Like, have you ever watched him play that matchup? Because you basically see Zalay go from turn one into fatigue mode. Like he's already playing the long term fatigue. But without armor smiths, that's really lowering his win rate because you can't get that huge armor up turn anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to learn the matchup better for myself, and I was watching Zale and life coach play it. I think they played the best.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to see Zale versus Osaka Patron Mirror because I think that matchup is one of the most interesting matchups in Hearthstone. Not only because it's one of the most played on ladder, but because it's so in depth that every single mistake can lose you the game.
RDU, I saw your match against Kranich. Okay. Where
Oh.
he shield slammed his own patron and slammed one of his own patrons, and you were exactly one patron on the board off lethal with the Frothing Berserker in HPL, I think.
Well, that
Um,
happens.
No,
It's
but it was
just,
it was a really good read on his part, but I thought he would only kill one. So like when you say it's in depth, that's the kind of play that makes like a huge difference because you almost had him, like you had him on the ropes. It was a really well like you really designed your lethal nicely, basically. It's too bad that you read into it, but it was a great play. So yeah, I think that's one of the cooler matchups for sure. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Hunter versus Hunter in a way. The thing is that Hunter versus Hunter is like once someone gets a foothold on the board, sometimes it's just really hard to remove them. Like they get a high main, you don't have the freezing trap. Well, just goodbye. So it's all about timing those things properly. Whereas patrons, sometimes the games drag on until somebody draws their combo, and even when they do, if they don't kill you right away, you can counter kill them.
Now I see the warrior versus mage that you talked about.
Yeah.
I'm really curious how they both play it out. I know Neiria is the freeze mage player that likes this matchup a lot, and I don't think any other freeze mage player likes this matchup. And of course, every warrior likes this matchup a lot. So let's see how it goes.
The only reason I could see a freeze mage like this is like Thighs doesn't like Malagos and freeze mage, right? So you've got on the other end maybe Nairia likes it because I think against Patron it's one of the better ones where they have the two executes, but if you get the Malagos to stick, that's the third threat they can't handle. And if somehow you're still alive, that's gonna make the difference. In a typical sense, if the warrior is going for a fatigue strategy right off the bat, I think it's a bad matchup for the mage no matter what. Like it's all about, I think, how the patron decides to approach it. But without armor smiths for Zalay, if that's the case, then that's going to make his win rate against freeze mage a lot worse because you rely on those huge whirlwind turns.
Yeah, it's very difficult without running armor smiths, but as you said, Zale knows how to play it. Like, I found out the way you can lose this matchup is by just trying to rush them down, and then they have Flame Strike, and then they Alexstrasza themselves, and that's how they win. So,
Okay, so you force them to try to pop your block at the last second, and then you just restore everything, and you're back to...
Yep. Also, the patron needs to draw until he gets the removal, and then he needs to stop completely. The best case scenario would actually be drawing less than until you get the removal, and then getting the
still
removal
getting-
exactly when you need
Right.
you need it, yeah. Top decking it and stuff. You need to draw as little as possible, but Zale is going for double Acolyte of Pain because he doesn't really have any other option right now.
It's a pretty good one. I mean, the mage can't really deny that unless they decide to go for a Doomsayer play. And they might have a much better Doomsayer later in the game with a Nova on a patron board, say.
Yeah, I think it's a good line to just go for the Acolytes to get the draws that you need to get, and then probably never use Battle Rage if you can, or use it for one, just to cycle. But yeah, this game will take a while. Forsen,
Yeah.
on the other hand, tries to draw a lot himself, but he gets closer to fatigue by every ping on the Acolyte he does.
I mean, as I said, like, some people play this matchup so conservatively when it comes to drawing. They just don't want to draw. They don't want to be the first to initiate the fatigue race. But if Forsen has info on Zale, cutting the armor smith, I mean, that's a good reason enough, I think, to maybe start drawing yourself. Because, if it comes to it, he's not going to win by a huge margin. I think
Now
it's still
Zale has-
favored in the patron, however. Go ahead.
Now Zale has the chance to just play the Nomish and throw away the Acolyte. Or he has the other option of trying to milk as many draws as possible from the Acolyte of Pain. I like this play actually, it's interesting. Saving the Acolyte on both sides. Like, as long as your opponent draws, you can afford to draw too, right?
Yeah, as long as yours is not getting denied, you can just let him draw. As long as you can equalize the draw count.
Yeah. You don't really want to be like 4 turns behind your opponent because then the fatigue actually matters a lot. But if you're like 1 draw behind, it's probably okay. As the warrior that has like a hero power that is twice better than mages.
That's a decent turn to pop the block.
I don't think Forsen runs Pyroblast, and that's really important in this matchup. It's one of the best ways to just destroy warrior's armor.
Well, that's the thing, right? If like Pyroblast is the other card that you can play. I think Malagos and Pyroblast are the two interchangeable spots. I'm not sure what Forsen's running. That's not those two, because very often, yeah, that's probably like the double draw from the 2-drop. It's kind of hard to make a push without those cards, because your late game ends up being, you know, Archmage, Alexstrasza, and those get killed. Alright, so if you...
He makes patrons, he just...
Yeah, that's it. I think you just...
He just makes Forsen to have it. Forces him to have it.
I mean, if you don't attack here and you don't pop it, then you're probably hoping to get some kind of a frauding play. Because, I mean, Blizzard is needed here, no questions asked. Or like a Nova Doomsayer play.
Nova Doomsayer is probably better, because if he executes the Doomsayer, it's actually good for you. You get a lot of value from the Antonidas if you play him afterwards. And you can also just have the Flame Strike next turn.
Wow, Forsen's going for the draw here. He's looking for that Flame Strike. Because he's not forced... Wait, he's going for the trade? Alright, sure, I guess. So that's something I didn't expect to see. But maybe the idea is to get the patrons low enough on health that Blizzard can maybe wipe most of them off. That's happened before. If the board is full enough, sometimes they don't get to replicate.
Yeah, also there's like no way to die right now.
Yeah, he's way away from dying. He's just not under pressure enough.
Yeah, I like that play from Forsen. He holds on the removal, and that's obviously important. Like, he gives Ale the chance to overextend, but the Freeze Mage usually has the Flame Strike on turn 7, so Zale will not overextend here. Then what does he do? Does he try to give Forsen out of draws, maybe even potentially overdrawing him? Not really. I think you just trade one patron and go for face with the other ones, armor up and pass the turn. Forsen went for the mind game. He gives Zale the chance to overextend. Very interesting.
I think the threat of a card is like sometimes just better than the card itself. Well, not better, but as good as the card itself in many cases.
Yeah, that's why you just have to ignore it sometimes, but sometimes you can just not play into it because it's just really bad to overextend. Now Forsen is in a pretty good spot because Zale only armored up once this whole matchup. He didn't really have the opportunity to do so.
That's a pretty big push. Is that a pretty big push? If you get... because if the ones on the board could attack, would it change anything? You really need Emperor Thorsten to make like a massive push soon, but you never have those patrons on the board again.
What now?
Warsong, Frothing, Whirlwind, Spawns... One patron, that's it.
It's not
And
enough to do anything.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything at all. I mean, you could kill the Doomsayer, but if you want to do that, then there's a much easier way. Maybe that's the play, actually.
I wonder.
I think the play is to just kill Doomsayer somehow, no matter how you do it.
Yeah,
because
it looks fine because you need to push for that Frothing. I saw from Zale's early game that he wasn't going to go for that fatigue line of play that he usually does. Because if he'd wanted to, then he'd been armoring up every single turn, and he hasn't. So he's going for the damage, like the damage approach, and he knows that one is a bit tougher. Forsen with a thank you. That's one execute out of the way.
yeah, he grabs the Talnos.
All right, pretty clean clear.
I like the way both players played it. They played through their routes. Zale had to do that play. He was forced to do that play. If you don't do it, the freeze mage player gets so much advantage. And at the same time, Forsen baited having Flame Strike 2 turns ago, and then he ended up having Talnos Blizzard this turn.
What now?
Do you think Zale will just go for it? He plays
Tries
Ghoul.
to set up. Alright, so he's trying to set up some kind of whirlwind effect. Somehow.
As funny as it sounds, I think Forsen is favored to take this game.
Well, without a huge armor lead, I think you're right. Like, the huge armor lead is usually what differentiates the mage from the, Oh, wow, what a crazy Emperor here for Forsen.
Wow.
Sometimes lucky.
Well, to be fair, Zali doesn't run Armor Smith, and that's the best card in the Freeze Mage matchup.
Right. I mean, shield block's not too bad. He's still not quite out of this yet. Does he run a single shield slam or not? I'm not too sure.
I don't think you run Shield Slam if you only run one Shield Block, and I think he only runs
Yeah.
one Shield Block. Because I saw Double Ghoul and he doesn't have the slots to play Double Ghoul, Double Shield Block, and Shield Slam. It's a very tough spot for Zale. Balrage is like the last card you want to see. It's the most useless one.
Now.
Yeah.
In this
Well,
matchup,
the
at
thing
least.
is, you don't even want to draw in the first place. You don't want to draw very much. I think if Zale picks up the win, it's going to be on the back of like a crazy frothing push. But the question is, even if you push and you pop the block, right? Even if you get it, can you actually pop it again? That's always the question you have to ask, and often enough, it doesn't work out.
Well, he uses the third Whirlwind effect. Now he only has one Whirlwind in the.
He wants to
whole
draw the
deck.
Emperor, probably, no? No, he armors up. Wow.
With
Forcing
only
his
one
opponent to use
Whirlwind.
removal here. Yeah.
With only one Whirlwind remaining for Zale, I don't think he can make a big frothing push.
Archmage is going to be super happy to come out eventually.
Usually you play it after Alexstrasza. You just Alex him and then you go Archmage, get a ton of fireballs. Forsen
Yeah,
will
he's got
play-
time on his hands, I think.
The only way Forsen plays Archmage right now is if he calculates he has enough damage to kill him only from the fireballs, just like not even needing Alexstrasza. That would be really interesting to see if a Freeze Mage can kill the Patron Warrior without playing Alexstrasza. He's adding up the numbers on the fingers.
Yeah, it's only 35. With just... If he gets all the fireballs and the warrior never armors up again. So he'd have to top deck more burn. So yeah, I think Alexstrasza is still going to be important.
Yeah, he found out he doesn't have enough damage, so he goes for the safer line of play. Oh, never mind.
And here we
He's ju-
go.
He's going for it.
He's going to
Also,
get
you-
a pretty substantial amount of fireballs anyway, so that's pretty sweet.
You saw one execute being used by Zale. You don't really expect... Do you really expect the other one? I think you might because he used it pretty easily on the Doomsayer. I don't think he would have used it unless he had another one to back it up.
So by playing like this, he converted the Frost Nova into a fireball, which that's 6 less damage than what I looked at initially. So that's actually giving him potential lethal over 3 turns, basically.
Is it enough? With Shield Block? I don't think so.
No, with Shield Block, it's not going to be enough, no.
Yeah, but whenever there's Forsen sees the Shield Block, he will just wait for Alexstrasza.
Of course.
So Zale needs to kind of bait it out and not play the Shield Block. Okay. Never mind. I actually think the play was Zale just executing the Antonidas and then waiting for Forsen to use the fireballs aggressively and then playing the Shield Block. Just so...
To force him to waste the damage.
Yeah, without having Alex. But at the same time, he doesn't know if Forsen has Alex or not. But I think that in this spot, if he has Alex, you already lose the game. So I think the better play is to just hope he doesn't have Alexstrasza and hope he uses his removal, his damage before you use the Shield Block. But going for Shield Block first will just make Forsen not play Fireballs, I think. Unless he calculated some other obscure details. And now he just goes for the safe line of play. Waits for Alex Straza. Of course, he used the fireball to the armor because that doesn't influence Alex Straza.
Exactly, because you remove the armor, it doesn't matter like what Alex does. I remember the days when that was the case. Oh my god, was that aggravating?
And now he's considering if Ping is better than Mad Scientist. He has
Just
three
because he needs to
combinations.
get just to remove the armor. Because if you top deck Alex, you're putting his opponent down to 15, right?
Yeah, you
So
want
I
every single
guess-
point of damage.
I mean, if you play Mad Scientist, what you're doing is you're giving your opponent the ability to get a free patron off of it, and you're denying yourself the ability to get the second ice block off of it, if eventually it comes to that. It's not a huge play necessarily, but it's enough.
We see the second shield block from Zale. Is that
Yep.
enough to like get him out of reach? I don't think so. If we see Alex Straza coming soon,
Alex
or
Stroll is gonna be
maybe.
on 20, 22. Well, the question is, how does he kill Alex? Because at this point, it's not even like I'm not even too worried about the fireballs. He can be out of reach of those. But with Alex Straza being an 8-8, and he's already used his 2 executes, that's not looking too good.
Okay, now Zale goes for I just lose to Flame Strike play.
Yeah, I'm all in. I can't really make a push at any point. I don't have any more AoEs to make this worth it.
After Force and Flame Strikes, Zale will have one more Patron, one more Frothing, one more Warsaw
Warsaw.
Commander in the deck, and that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You got Alex Straza.
I think you do you flame strike for safety anyway. You can remove some
Of
armor in the
course.
meantime. You go for the ice barrier. You pick
Every
one.
single time you do this play.
There's
Now
like
you
no
can
way you're gonna
basically,
lose.
now you basically win, right? Unless Zale has some secrets stacked out into the Patron.
Kazan Mystic twice. I don't think so.
Not even that would do it, probably. He's in a really bad spot. He doesn't have a way to deal with Alex Straza. He doesn't have a way to proc the block and eventually kill Forsen.
I think that's the big. I think Alex Straza is really the biggest threat because having had to use the execute so early. What did he even use it on? I remember it was on the Archmage, and then you had another one on the Doomsayer.
Yes.
So
So the way Zale wins right now is Forsen not having Alex Straza and then him top decking as soon as possible, Frothing Berserker and Warson Commander, and then proccing the block and then having another weapon to kill Forsen. It's a really unrealistic situation. We already know that Forsen has Alex Straza and he's gonna
Yep.
instantly play it.
Patience can't charge yet. Emperor Thorsten is no help. I mean, Battle Rage could get you the War Song. That
Is
would
War Song
allow
good
you to
enough?
kill Alex Straza. Say what?
Is that good enough? He's not efficient killing Alex Straza.
Well, I mean, you would have to face tank her, and then you die to the 1,000 fireballs you saw go up in his hand earlier. But as he spawned them, you saw that you were further and further away from the win the moment Alex Straza hit the board.
Yeah, I don't think there's any draw for Zale to get him out of this situation. Yeah, I think this is a better play than just hoping you draw Warson Commander. You also get that armor up in. But even if you armor up, it doesn't really matter. Alex hitting you in the face is gonna be enough to potentially...
Force with the
Win the
friendly
game.
BM, but the BM is going to equalize the score at least between both teams.
Yeah, very friendly.
You don't believe it's friendly when it's coming from Forsen?
Yeah, of course it's friendly. It's only joke.
It's only a joke. Why you have to be mad?
Yeah, Forsen just goes for the damage to the face.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. I mean, the only way he was gonna lose is if he didn't have Alex ever. Like the only way for him to
Zale-
lose this was for like Alex to be the last card at the bottom of the deck.
Zale is laughing right now. He knows he cannot do anything in this situation.
Where is the Armor Smith when you need it, right? Oh, it's out of the deck. He's gonna try to kill himself,
Played.
committing the pseudo coup. That's pretty sweet. Well, Forsen's not gonna get the lethal. Zale is gonna get it on himself. So it's gonna equalize the series 3-3. So even though Team Archon had the early lead, Forsenboys are doing pretty well, but see, this is a position where Forsenboys has one less deck from Forsen, right? So now we just have to eliminate the Warlock, and finally the Paladin can play. So maybe that was the plan all along, right? Just
Yeah,
throw in your bad matchups and lose to Forsen, and then 6-0 can go in.
Yeah, I still think obviously that just benching Forsen is a better game plan for Archon. But if that doesn't work, just let Forsen win twice and beat Oskaka.
Right. You can't actually
Oska-
do... Go ahead.
Oskaka is also like the player that is most likely to go on tilt if he has to win the final games. But Archon has 6-0 on the other side with the Paladin. I would really love to see them going head to head for their teams basically because they're representing their teams.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're the weak link in a format like this, for instance, if you feel like you're the weak link, you're playing for your entire team in a huge... And these matches are really big, right? Because this is elimination. We're way past the whole, oh, let's see who makes it to, phase 2, gets out of redemption. These teams are just getting eliminated. Whoever loses this loses their chance at hundreds of thousands of dollars, basically, in prizes, so... Yeah, I don't know. Like, you guys will have to nail it tomorrow as well. I'm guessing that's like you've been on a roller coaster ride. Then, like, how does it feel? Like, how does it feel going from a really good spot to a poor one, and then kind of making it back? I have to ask you because I didn't really.
Well, we take it as a team. Like when we prepare the decks, we do it together, we practice together, and we think of the decks together. So that means we take the wins together and we take the losses together. If some player loses a lot of games in a row, it's not only his fault because the decks weren't only made by himself. It's not like we just meet once and be like, oh, I play this, you play whatever you want, and let's just play some Hearthstone. We actually had like a really good strategy,
Right.
and we're
Wizard
like
Poker
practicing and
Masters.
stuff. So yeah, we are just taking everything okay. We don't flame each other when we try to stay strong even in the toughest spots, and I think that will be enough to qualify us. If not, so be it.
All right. You're taking this pretty well, I find. Yeah, that's a competitive player mindset. That's great. It's great to see that, honestly. A lot of players are very emotional about their wins and losses. I know you display a lot of emotion, but I think deep down, you're still accepting of like RNG, variance hits.
Yeah,
and
I display emotion,
happens.
but I don't really care about the outcome. Like after between half a minute and 1 minute, I'm just okay and fresh to go again.
Wow, Xixo bringing out the Paladin and Askaka. Let's hope this is not the
Warrior.
Warrior. Oh,
Okay, I played this matchup quite a lot today, actually. I
Go
played
ahead.
a deck similar to Sixos, and I think it's better than the Aggro Paladin Wars versus Patron, just because you have these interesting secrets. So, okay, Osaka has the Fire War Axe.
yeah,
Again.
that's already really tough. Like, it's pretty much the most awful start.
I would love to see some percentages on how many times the Warrior has the Fire War Axe.
90%, you said. 90%. That's what I heard earlier. I'm gonna stick to it. Math cannot disprove this.
It has been 100% today in Archon Lake, to be honest. So
You're right.
I'm not saying anything, but
Blizzard, you might want to check your algorithms and the weight you give to that War Axe. It might be heavier than you think. This is coming out every single time now.
it would be even funnier if Osaka plays only one Fire War Axe and still gets it. I think competitive spirit is the worst secret to get early game. It's so good with Master for Battle, but it's so bad versus everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, it's very good mid game, really. I think.
It's actually really good when you get the how was it called? The 6 mana guy that gives you all the secrets.
Mysterious Challenger, yeah. The
Yeah,
one that's
Mysterious
forcing your
Challenger.
bite to deal with it.
They all have synergy. The secrets you get from that guy, you get down, and then after your opponent kills the get down, you proc the avenge. At the same time, you proc the redemption, and at the same time, you proc the competitive spirit at the end of the
Spirit,
turn.
yeah.
So you just get a huge board.
Well,
That,
that's what's interesting. I find about I remember when the Paladin secrets were leaked. The dream was to have noble sacrifice and avenge and have redemption. That was the dream, but like you couldn't get it to work because you could never draw those secrets, and Mad Scientist wasn't good enough to make that competitive. But now that we have that card, I think there's a chance that the deck becomes a bit better. We'll see. So the 1/1s
What's-
here aren't exactly a big threat. What's up?
Also, Scientist is not that great in this Paladin deck because he's only worth it and like really nice when you get 2 mana secrets out of your deck.
It's awful.
But with the 1 mana Paladin secret, you don't really want to get them out of the deck. I think Challenger is enough. And Sixto recognized that and he built a powerful version without Scientist. So his deck is actually not that bad as people think. But of course, it's a really hard matchup to win.
It's already looking pretty bad, even if competitive spirit triggers, right? Like, if you remove all the 1/1s, you waste the competitive spirit completely, because it's just going to trigger on 2 minions. On 1 minion, in fact, in this case. So it's really rough.
Yeah,
If
Osaka
he
plays
picks
it
up
really
a
well.
weapon... If he picks up a weapon, maybe... Oh god, this hand from Xixo. So many secrets in that deck.
I mean, they're not bad now. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
Shove them all.
Yeah, you attack and play all the secrets, go for face. Maybe trade? Nah. Nah, you don't trade. You want the Divine Shield with the competitive spirit, because Osaka has to attack himself. What is the best draw for 6-0? Divine Favor and even Mysterious Guy is pretty good, right?
It's alright. The thing is, I feel like Osaka's mid game is so much stronger right now than Xixo. Like, no matter what he's played here, unless Xixo top deck's like a crazy swing card, it's not really gonna work. Like,
Well,
does
if
he
he
even
gets
play
the-
those, like, does he even play the Silver Hand Regent, for instance?
He plays Kings. And if he
Okay.
gets the Venge on the dude and then he top decks Kings, I think that is pretty good. But whenever Osaka gets executed, he can just execute the Divine Shielded guy because he's damaged. It doesn't matter that he has the Divine Shield on.
Yeah.
So that's also like a drawback. But we know he doesn't have execute right now, but Sixto can think of anything. So let's see how the Avenge goes. It's a really important Avenge here. Maybe even game deciding Avenge. We'll see. He missed.
Well, he's gonna be able to kill it and take only 5 as retaliation. Xixo at least can take care of the Armor Smith. If this 2-1 can get buffed by Kings, as you mentioned, that could be a really big deal. As long as the 2-1 doesn't get killed by Execute,
Reporting for duty.
he's somewhat okay. Oh man, that's such a weird secret to play here. Like, it does
Really?
nothing.
I don't think Osaka will go for Patron.
Well, I mean, I'd play Patron and pop the 2-1.
He might be afraid that 6-0 has the secret that makes the Patron 1 HP.
Oh,
and then he gets
no.
destroyed.
Really?
He knows 6-0 had the secret last turn
Right,
and he
right,
chose
he's
to play
got
the
it.
other 2 secrets. Right?
What now?
That's a
Yeah,
good point.
that's a good-
That's a good point. If he's afraid of that, then definitely. And if you set
Yeah.
up the ghoul, you also potentially get even more. Oh well, that's
That's perfect. Having the Whirlwind. It's enough to kill both minions. Also, he has the Ghoul, so he has even an overkill. I don't see 6 so good in this game. Will
does
the
he even have
team-
the top deck that gets him out of this? After the whirlwind effect, like, because there's gonna be like the ghoul effect for one, and then there's gonna be the whirlwind and the AoE from Death's Bite. Not only is it gonna spawn patrons, but it's also gonna kill your entire board.
Well, this turn he could have top decked the Mysterious guy. And then he would have a pretty decent state.
He drew so many secrets though. I think maybe the sweet spot for a deck like this is maybe like 6 secrets instead of the whole 9.
For duty.
Because that's a third of your deck in a mulligan that's just kind of average, if not mediocre.
I think the sweet spot is playing the best 8 ones, maybe 7. And just hoping you either get them early game with your minions to combo pretty efficiently or just from the Mysterious. And just
Challenger.
not drawing into Challenger, basically. And not drawing into Redemption unless you have an Archon Squire or a Minibot. Like, if you get Avenge early on and you have a board, it's actually really good. Same with Get Down.
Count me in.
Does he put 6 Patos on the board?
Is there a reason not to? Consecration, I guess. Because he can flood the board with patrons and then you end up... Well, you're gonna have 2 of them not being able to spawn. Alright, it doesn't bother.
Yeah, I don't really need... Oh, Consecration. Talking about it. Siso is still in a really, really bad spot.
I mean, Oxkaka could literally just attack with those patrons and never play anything else and armor up, and that's it. And that will
How many
eventually be
turns?
game.
How many turns does it take him to make the game?
If he plays the Armor Smith Whirlwind, that's gonna be pretty much next turn.
He needs to Whirlwind, because if he doesn't Whirlwind, 6-0 can attack the weapon into the 3-3 and then Consecrate. And then his board is dead. But if he goes for Whirlwind, he gets a lot of armor, he gets himself out of reach, and he gets 4 patrons back. And these 4 patrons are enough to win next turn. He can even drop the Acolyte.
Speak to me.
Yeah, I like this play from Oskaka. This way he also punishes 6-0 even more if 6-0 would have had the Divine Favor. And we see the Repentance, which is probably the worst secret in
Yeah,
the deck.
probably the. I mean, you have to cut Repentance. I feel. I mean, I'd keep Redemption every day, like Redemption, Avenge, and I
Noble
think
Sacrifice.
Noble Sack is good insofar as you get it. I find through Mysterious Challenger most of the time. I think Competitive Spirit is probably overall a bit better, depending on how you build the deck, of course. Um,
I
Well,
would
there's
say you
gonna
have
be
to play
a-
one Spirit. I think one Spirit is better, and just double Noble Sacrifice. But it depends on the playstyles.
That sounds good. That sounds about right. I think the secret deck is definitely going to be coming up and optimized soon enough. So Xixo loses again with the secret paladin deck. Let's hope it doesn't come to him. Like it doesn't come down to him just losing to every deck from Forsenboys. Oskaka got his warrior out of the way. There's a shaman left for him, and Forsen still has his warlock, which are the only 2 decks that we need to see them win with. And they're going to have to face off against. I mean, the entire lineup left from Team Archon. Do you think Team Archon will just throw Xixo out again and hope that he wins? Because if he doesn't win, then it basically doesn't matter. Or will they still try to narrow it down to the Shaman?
I think it's very difficult no matter what. Archon was in a really good spot, but now Forsenboys is in a really insane position. Like, Zoo is not really their best deck. I definitely disagree with running Gormok in Zoo. I think Gormok is a really overrated card, and even in the decks that can spawn the board fully, I still think you have better options than running a legendary that is very situational. But other than that, Zoo is more consistent than the way 6-0 build aggro Paladin. And Zoo can also steal a win from Patron. Versus Freeze Mage, it's really hard. So Freeze Mage beats Zoo, loses to Mech Shaman. Paladin should lose to Zoo and beat Shaman.
Shaman, yeah, probably most
And
of the
Patron
time.
can beat everything and lose to everything. Like, I can see Patron being pretty bad versus the Shaman because the Shaman is really fast. And versus Zoo, I think it's very close to 50-50 because Zoo is very fast too. So
Well, yeah, it's a different because like we keep saying, okay, so Patron keeps aggro in check, right? But Patron also loses to some styles of aggressive decks. Not all of them, but some styles of them, which are very, tempo-based. Say Zoo, that's a great example. They have sticky minions that can rush you down from hand very fast. Whereas if you go from, for a Face Hunter, they run out of steam too fast. Like, it's a very different type of aggressive deck. So yes, Patron does keep aggro in check, but there are some archetypes, and I think Zoo is probably the best example of that keep Patron on its toes as well.
I think Mech Shaman is actually a better example because if you go another turn into Zapomatic, Patron needs a slam. If you go Coin Zapomatic, Patron needs the Fiery War Axe. And even if they have it, you can just keep playing Max, keep playing Max, keep playing Max, and eventually you'll be in a good spot. So we see Archon got a good matchup right now, the Paladin versus Shaman, and we were talking about this all night. Let's see how it goes.
Well, this is the matchup I've been waiting for all day, pretty much. I've just wanted to see this secret deck work out. Looks like Oskaka's got himself a Cogmaster opener, which is pretty much the only 1-drop he runs, so that's a pretty decent pickup. Tuskar Totemic always spawns a 3-4. That's a fact.
And 6-0 got a really good hand. Secret Keeper turn 1, Argent Square Revenge turn 2. I think being Oskaka, you probably keep the Cogmaster and the Rockbiter, because you need the Rockbiter to answer a turn 1 Secret Keeper from your opponent. You just cannot afford that to get out of hand. Now he considers keeping Tusker Totemic, which is a really strong card to follow it up. If he knows he'll get a 2-drop in the next 3 draws by mulliganing the Shredder, he can keep the other 3 cards. Because he would go Cogmaster, Coin Rockbiter into a 2-mana mech into Tusker, that's like the dream. But what's the chance of getting a 2-mana mech?
Yeah, I'd probably throw the Shredder and just try for that 2-mana mech right now.
Or
Right.
you can just throw the Tusker and the Shredder and give yourself better chances at a 2-mana mech. But I think you just throw the Shredder and hope you get it. Because it's so much better to have the Tusker as a follow-up on turn 3.
Yeah. And
Oh,
what
he
if you
can go.
don't really? What if you don't need like from his perspective? What if you don't need that Rock Biter in the end? And then you can just coin out a Tusker on turn 2. Yeah. No, he's never like. There's no way that lives. There's no way this lives.
Yeah, Rock Biter for sure. The question is if you play Cogmonster. And now in this spot you don't play Cogmonster, just Rock Biter and coin into Tusker Totemic. Or maybe you play double Cogmonster next turn for whatever reason. We'll see. Shaman is really...
Yeah, I'd be surprised though. But there's a possibility that he tries to go for that. If nothing came down from 6-0, he might try it out. All right.
Repentance.
Gets a
I really
guaranteed
like
kill with
Repentance.
Tuskar.
I really like the Repentance because you have Master for Battle. But at the same time, it can also go wrong. Actually, I like it. I like it very much from 6-0. It's a good
It all
follow-up.
depends on what that totem is. It always depends what the Tuskar Totemic brings. And like this card, I've had a little bit of discussion with some people about it because you know how Animal Companion gives you a 33% RNG and you can get like a crazy Wolf Rider off of it, like a 4/2 a charge. Tuskar Totemic has a huge variance rate, and the times where you just coin it out and get totem golems are so sick that it makes the game really swingy very early. Like it kind of does what Animal Companion does, but worse when it works.
Yeah, but Shaman was already a really bad class.
Right.
And they need a good card. But the funny thing is that Mech Shaman was not that bad. So I'm not sure if Mech Shaman needed this card.
So shamans are just gonna start playing Tuskar Totemic and Mech and just never mind mid range. We're out of this. Never mind Totem Shaman. Why need that?
Well, you saw my Mech Shaman. I also run Tusker. I think he's like
Yeah,
a really
it's-
good card.
It's a card I would play. It's kind of like Murloc Knight and Pally. I'd play that everywhere.
Not
Oh.
in Aggro Poly, of course, but...
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
Ostkaka made a pretty good read, maybe, on 6-0.
It looks like it at least. Now Xixo's considering, do I muster or do I avenge and hero power? I think there's no reason not to use a muster here.
I think there are reasons to go Hero Power Avenge and trade into the 1-1.
Isn't that too risky in the case of an Earth Shock? Like, don't you get too punished for being slow about it?
You get destroyed by Earthshock, but does he run Earthshock? Ostkaka?
Yeah, but I mean, there's less chances of a Lightning Storm than an Earth Shock, I think, right?
Lightning Storm is like 0% or 1%.
Yeah, but that's that's kind of what I'm saying. The odds might
like-
be more in your favor.
The card you don't want to play is like really hard to fit cards in the new Mech Shaman because you don't really have slots. You cannot afford to run a really situational card. You want to run good powerful minions and top decks. Like damage
Yeah.
top decks. That's it. That's how you play Mech Shaman. And try to hit that face as much as possible.
So what do you think we'll see here from Ostkaka? I mean, he could just go for the coin shredder. But the fact that that's weak to Noble Sacrifice, like really weak to Noble Sacrifice, might make it so he doesn't want to bother with that. If he goes for like Mech Warper Zap-O-Matic, that's kind of weak to a True Silver play. Like every play that he takes feels like it's a little subpar, depending on what your opponent's holding.
I think putting most HP on board is the best play. And you
Okay.
go for face all the time. You need to push as much as possible. Oh, he trades? Interesting.
He thinks he gets the edge over time against a Paladin, because his minions are usually bigger. Against this Paladin especially, like unless Six will change something, your minions are going to be usually bigger, but they can overwhelm you pretty fast.
Yeah, now being 6, you just Archer Protector Revenge, trade into the Zap-O-Matic, and go for the face with the others.
No reason to damage the Mech Warper.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, I don't really
Never
see
mind
why.
Avenge, just flood the board. He's about to lose his board, doesn't want to fall behind on it. I think that's actually a pretty good call, because the board, like having too many minions on the board is going to be the issue for the Shaman going like down the line, because he only has spot removal. Like unless he picks up a Doom Hammer, he's going to kill 1 minion at most with a single spell or a single action. So you're forcing him to spread his actions for removal, and they're all going to be inefficient.
Yeah, but at the same time, you want to get rid of the 2 Avenges that you have in the hand, and the only way to get rid of both is playing 1 now over the Hero Power. Or maybe over the Protector, I don't know. I am not sure if I like that line because you know Osaka is gonna trade into the 2-2, right? He has to clear. Actually, no, he's gonna go for face, right?
It really like Iskaka's been playing Mech Shaman the slowest I've ever seen anybody play it. Every time I see him play, he's always so cautious about it, and it's working for him. Like he's always like that warrior game we were talking about earlier, right? Like he played it so carefully, but it ended up winning him the game. Where a lot of people would have said, just go all in, shove it, try to do your best with the face and top deck your way to victory. He went for a slower playstyle and it worked. So maybe again, we'll see that come into action.
I'm so disappointed, but he lost that game.
I'm still disappointed about it. I'm still disappointed because I thought he played this so well.
Yeah.
Like, it was
he
amazing.
To a top deck, to like a 1 out of 10 top deck or something like that.
Yeah, it was very unlike. Alright, so apparently we're going to see the Avenge Competitive Spirit Hero Power, and this is looking amazing for 6-0. Like, this is going to be a board, chock full of 2-2s next turn. One of them will be a bit bigger than that, too.
That was actually a really good draw, even though he drew a lot of secrets until now. It ended up being not bad. When you have a big board, you force him to trade, but he cannot because of Avenge, and then if he doesn't, Competitive Spirit is gonna buff the dudes. I think you just play Taska Totemic on Archon, go for full face, hope you top deck some damage, hope he doesn't kill you. You just go for the race here if you are Osaka. You hope for the Flame Tongue. So you play Tusker first, you hope you get Flame Tongue, and then you play Anoyatron in the other part of the Flame Tongue. So that Anoyatron is also buffed. You definitely don't play Anoyatron first. I don't think there's any reason to play Anoyatron first. While there is one reason to play Tusker first.
Well, you could play Tusker, well, yeah, I was gonna say. You could play Tusker like on the far left. But it's not really gonna be better. Oh, he tried to trigger. He's checking for Noble Sack.
Checking for secrets. I don't know.
I mean, if he goes face with that Shredder, that's gonna be... Oh, what a crazy pickup here. This is probably the... Like, I almost want to say the best.
Yeah, because he only needs burst now. If he gets the burst, he wins.
Oh my god. 6-0 with a crazy... The top deck to save them all. He looks so relieved. He's like, alright, I might win my game finally. This deck has been hell for me to pilot. Somebody give me the win. 6-0. That's gotta feel really good.
I would love it if this deck becomes like the best deck in the meta and we look back at this tournament and we are like, why were people trash talking this deck?
I think this deck needs to be refined. I'll be honest with you, I think there's like a lot of tweaks you could make to it to just improve it massively. But the idea is super sound. Like, there's so little you can do to stop it from flooding the board at some point. They're going to have something big, or they're going to have many small things, but they're all going to be annoying. And it's going to be really frustrating to remove.
Yeah, after months and months, Patreon is still not super refined. It's not like one Patreon list that has to be played. Right. This is LA playing no armor smiths now and stuff like that. So I wonder how much time it will be until people find a really insane, refined Paladin list. I know it took a lot for Miracle Rogue too, back in the day.
Right, it took a long time. Oh man, that pickup from 6-0 is like, you know what? Let's just kill the spell power, make sure nothing goes out of hand with burst from hand, and then this is guaranteed win for me unless something goes really... He might trade to be safe because the Shaman stopped decking. Oh, he trades. Alright.
He trades because the Rock Biter to the face would have made the Zapomatic deal 6, so you just double damage on Rock Biter.
Well, that's a great play because look what got top decked here by Skaka.
That's a
great point.
The thing is that I still don't think he would have lost if he just would have went for face, because even if he has like he uses Rock Biter to trigger the first secret, and then he has, let's say, another Rock Biter to buff the Zapomatic, you still don't die, and you probably set up for a little better that way.
So do you expect Flame Tongues out of your opponent, and then like he can't have both Flame Tongue and 10 damage from hand, right? There's no way for him to have all of that, and you're guaranteed lethal next turn.
Doomhammer, but he has the secret still.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why like Flame Tongue plus Doomhammer Rockbiter would work, but he's overloaded for 2, so that can't work.
Is there any way for Osaka to top deck something?
No, he's dead at the moment, even with Stoneclaw coming up. Even if he had top decked Alec here. Even with Alec here, he didn't get it done. Like, even at full mana, 10 mana, Alec here, Lightning Bolt, it still didn't work here. So Xixo is gonna lock a win with his Paladin deck. The sigh of relief from the entire side of Team Archon. I can hear it. I can hear everybody just taking a deep breath and being like, alright, now we can actually take the series, now that this is out of the way. Nice job, Xixo.
Yeah, they still have to win with that patron, which struggled quite a while, quite a lot in this series. Not having Armorsmith is really bad versus Forsenboys. They are really aggro heavy on all their decks. So if Zalay gets the patron win, then they can be safe. Also, Firebat will struggle quite a lot with the Freeze Mage. Freeze Mage is not the best deck to play against Mech Shaman, right?
Right, I was gonna say, like, the Shaman Mage matchup might be one that I don't know if Firebat really has any edge on that one, so that could again be an issue. Like in the Warlock Zoo is not one that Forsen will queue into Freeze Mage. So do you expect Forsenboys to queue up Shaman because they've got like an okay matchup against both of his opponents and risk the bench and be forced to queue a Zoo up into a Freeze Mage?
So there are two cases. You either go Mech Shaman or you go Zoo. If you go Mech Shaman, you have two good matchups. And if you go Zoo, you have a bad one and a good one. Let's say you get the bad one, what can go wrong? You lose the bad one, and then you have Zoo and Mech Shaman versus Warrior. I think no matter how you go, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't affect it. I think it's you just coin flip the way you go here. Unless you have some preference for one of the matchups, if you have some decked cards that we don't know about. Like, we don't have all the info on the decks and stuff to say exactly what is the best thing to go for. Like, for example, yesterday when
it's all about the bench, honestly, because Skaka just lost, right?
It doesn't matter if you're benched and the opponents have 5 wins, because they need one more win anyways with one deck.
I mean, they're gonna have to queue up into your Zoo afterwards. Like, let's assume Osaka comes out, Patron wins,
and then they will have Freeze Mage anyways. It doesn't matter if Osaka is benched. They will have to win Zoo versus Freeze Mage and Shaman.
Shaman versus Patron. Okay.
Yeah, bench is irrelevant at 4-4. Bench is basically irrelevant at this stage.
RD is schooling me in the ways of the benching rule. All right, that's fine. That's great.
It's only cool for the Twitch chat to see that benchy thing.
Bench. I mean, I like the full stamp. Like the full stamp is pretty nice. Yeah, I still have full stamp once. Crip was so happy. You should have seen him. The entire team was benched.
They had to call it something like jail and make a small jail around your face.
God. The Archon jail. The Twisting Nether, man. The entire team is sent over there. Nobody comes out. Actually, like, there's a bet. If your entire team gets benched, you have to disband the team and rename it. That would have been a cool clause to include into the game. Alright, it looks like a Freeze Mage from Firebat with Novice Engineer. Doesn't want to wait for his Loot Hoarders to die.
I was always wondering why people play Loot Hoarder over Novice Engineer, but it's because he trades really well in the early game, but the later you draw into it, the better Novice Engineer becomes. Like, if Novice Engineer would have been a 1-2, it would see so much more play.
Of course, yeah. If the nerf was reverted, it would be played again. Oh, that's a bit tricky.
I like the Zapomatic.
Oh, never mind.
I like the Frostbolt top deck too.
Yeah, I think the Zapomatic was great, and then Frostbolt top deck is I think Firebat was gonna take a lot of damage if he didn't have that.
Osaka can go for the esports and get the 3-4. Nope.
Still pretty good though, because the pings can't kill anything at the moment.
His curve is perfect as Mech Shaman. Yeah. He goes Fire Guard into Shredder into Doomhammer. I think actually you go Power Mace and then you go Doomhammer to
override it. Maybe.
You actually don't override it. You attack with the Power Mace and then you play Doomhammer and you can still attack once.
Oh my god, he picks up a Lotheb too for the exact moment he's gonna have to push full face. Firebat will never see this coming.
Osaka's hand is insane. Like,
yeah,
this is the draw you want to see versus Freeze Mage.
What to do?
If Firebat manages to win this game, he's just a god.
Hey, maybe he can. Freeze Mage can do all sorts of things. But yeah, he's low on mana, no secret setup, no mad scientist, no board clear ready to go. Yeah, there's a lot of damage coming in, let's just put it that way.
Osaka is considering power macing, and curving out into Pilot Shredder. But I don't think that's better than just trading the Acolyte with your free 2, getting him
And healing
healed.
it up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like healing totem
there
is
any-
really sweet. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Full faith.
okay.
Once in a while, I guess Oskaka doesn't play conservative Hearthstone. Noxious
I know why
Riot.
he did that. I know why he did that, but I'm not sure if I agree with it. He did that because he wants to curve out into Loteb and then into a Doomhammer kill. But what's the
Open
chance
the
of
weapons
that?
after.
I'm not sure. I think the conservative line of play is better in this matchup. As a Mech Shaman, you have enough time to play all your cards in the best order. And he went for like a subpar order just to have a chance to insta-kill Firebat before he gets to act. Because turn 4 is really bad as a Freeze Mage. He could then play Loteb on turn 5, which is really insane as a Freeze Mage. Deny that too. And then maybe pick up a Lightning Bolt or a Rock Biter to end the game. But is that really a line of play you want? Maybe after you saw one Frostbolt, but Firebat had the second Frostbolt. And now, what does Osaka do? Doomhammer is pretty bad. You go Fireguard into Doomhammer into Loteb in the next 3 turns, but that's also not that great.
If you go Lothab now, you're not accomplishing too much. Well, I mean, you can get a lot of damage out, but because one of your minions is gonna die, you're getting a little bit less damage on the following turn. Maybe just play Doomhammer just now and play Curve into Fireguard Destroyer.
Hmm.
I wonder.
Yeah. Do you trade? Not really, right?
I mean, if you went face on turn 2, I mean, on turn 4, I don't think you're changing your mind here and just deciding to not to kill the Acolyte, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, there's no reason to
the only
kill
thing
it,
I
right?
could see is maybe if you want to avoid getting coin blizzarded, so you kill maybe the novice and then go face, but you don't kill the acolyte. Okay, so he does exactly that. Like coin blizzard is the only thing that changes this, but even then, it's not even a big deal.
But why is it changing it?
Because on the following turn, if you're developing minions, like the 1/1 and the 1/1 can kill your healing totem, and then Blizzard on the following turn would wreck you, pretty much. It's just that with Doomhammer developed right now, I feel like Oskaka's playing it like against a control warrior, where the faster you get it out, like I remember the old days of Shaman versus Warrior. You have Doomhammer, you can probably push for lethal very early.
Well, they could have had Harrison, and he knows Freeze
Of
doesn't have
course, yeah.
Harrison.
So he's
So
got
versus
the
Freeze
edge.
Mage, yeah,
It's even
versus Freeze
better.
Mage, Doomhammer is. I would even consider keeping Doomhammer. If you play one Doomhammer, you probably keep it versus Freeze Mage because it's like the best card you can have. You just
Yeah, I
need to
can
curve
see
it.
that.
Yeah.
I can see that. It makes a ton of sense. You can definitely make a good argument for that.
16 damage, why not? Potentially more with the Rock Biter. It doubles the Rock Biter, so it's very good.
Oh my god, I just realized why you were confused about the Blizzard. I was gonna say Cone of Cold. I meant Cone of Cold.
Oh,
The
Cone
one
of
ones with
Cold.
Cone. Yeah, sorry about that. I just completely. I was like, why is he confused? That seems to make so much sense. No, I meant Cone of Cold, RDU. I'm so sorry about that. All right, sorry about. Yeah, never mind. That was
Yeah,
completely my
really
bad.
I was really confused
Right.
because if there's a player of Hearthstone that knows all the card names, that's you.
Yeah, I completely messed that up.
Like
The
I just know
Jeoparino
the
title
card
is
names.
long gone. There we go.
I have a visual memory and I only remember the picture. That's why sometimes I call it like the one dude or something like that. But you
The
remember
one that
all the
hits
names.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that hits face.
The Lepernome? Yes, that one.
Yeah, the little annoying guy.
Alright, so Firebat is able to stay in the game a little bit longer. Now his board is frozen, so no incentive to Lothab just yet. Is there? Interesting. So Skaka
Usually
thinks...
Loteb
I'm
is
surprised
best. Loteb is best on the mage's turn 7, or when you proc the block, or when you're about to proc the block. That's the three situations you play Loteb, or Desperation Loteb, or Curve Loteb, what he wanted to achieve earlier if his Polisher wouldn't have died.
So he's just dead, basically. That's it? Is he?
Yeah, he's...
10, 12...
Oh no, it's one off, right?
He's one off lethal, so there's a chance that Firebat can do this. But he's got 2 chances at the spell power totem. Tuskar Totemic, Hero Power, or just a top
Tusker
deck.
actually has Flame Tongue too. So
Oh, you're
first
right, that's
he-
even better.
Your first hero power.
Good point.
Your first hero power, right? Doesn't matter. You can
Yeah,
Tusker.
you can do everything on whatever order. They can all spawn in the right spot, no matter what.
So what is the chance? It's like 25% to get spell power, and then the Tusker also has 25% to get you a favorable totem. So
Gotta
have to
try. Worst case
25%.
scenario, like the good thing about this situation is you can always change your mind, right, in the middle of it, because you're not committing to a play that you'd back from, like that you back from. You'd always just go for this line of play.
Yeah, he had close to 50%, like 40 something percent to win the game here.
Yeah.
Never lucky. I'm not sure how he managed to fit Spider Tank in the deck. I wonder what
three
cuts
drop
he
would you
made.
cut? Yeah.
You don't cut anything but by adding Tusker, you have to cut something.
So he is now forcing his opponent to have a board wipe and have a way to heal himself, and that is going to be the Ice Lance to face.
What can Firebat do? What is his best line of play?
Flame Strike, ping Lotheb, go face, and Ice Lance your opponent's face. That's about it. I mean, I guess you could Alex yourself, but you're still dead for the most part.
You lose to so many things, but it's probably the only line of play you have.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
lose to Crackle, you lose to Lava Burst, you lose to... well, with Ice Lance to face, you don't lose to a weapon, at the very least. And then you can maybe Alex yourself. God, I hate those moments. As Freeze Mage, this is exactly the worst spot to be in. I mean, this is even worse because he's not even scrambling to put secrets on the board. He just doesn't have them.
Yeah, but if he pulls this off and Osaka has bad RNG on the totem again, then Firebat is favored to win a game that we never thought he could.
Let's
Seeing
see if
the starting
Osaka
hands.
gets the RNG gods on this side and finds the lethal. He has so many things, as long as it's not a rock biter or some kind of mech that doesn't do anything, and that's gonna be it. Osaka will take it against Firebat. So 5-4 in favor of the Forsenboys. This series is pretty close, to say the least.
Yeah. Don't you think he had to hero power to see the RNG still?
Yeah, just like see if you can get a spell damage and lightning bolt to tilt Firebat so that he loses his next game. Is that how you play Hearthstone? That's pretty dirty, RDU.
Yeah, you try to get every single advantage in these kind of situations, but I don't think Firebat is the person that would go on tilt, of course.
No, I don't think so.
And now
He's
it's
a
up
very
to
solid player.
Forsen. It's up to Forsen.
He has to win against two decks, but I can't say his matchups are very good. It's pretty rough.
Freeze
I mean,
Mage is
Freeze
hard.
Mage and Grim Patron, like those are two matchups that you don't really want to go up against. But there's no Armor Smith in the Patron, so again, that's giving you a little edge. But again, you have to handle the Cruel Taskmasters, which will also be able to be used as removal. But I think the Armor Smiths are all better.
we can put it roughly at like 30% versus Mage and 50% versus the Warrior.
Mhm.
So that means he has like a 65% to win the series, right? Something like that. Still not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's just that he has to... Like, the Freeze Mage is already almost lost. Is it really 30%? Is it that high for Zoo? I guess nowadays, because they're so sticky, it's a lot better.
Yeah, Mulganis and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, also Gormak is probably useful in this matchup as 4 damage to the face. Well, because you'll have a board, they usually like freeze it. So they go for the better matchup first, Team Archon. And they want to rely on Zale afterwards if Firebat manages to win this one. Forsen has the Owl. Do you keep it?
Against a Freeze Mage, I probably would consider it just because I kind of need my board. I mean, I don't really see... I mean, what are you looking for? You could otherwise look for Flame Imps, Knife Jugglers. I thought the Egg was okay-ish.
Yeah, I think
But you're
Egg
looking
is
for
okay-ish.
Flame Imp to start super hard.
Yeah, but if he has Frostbolt, Flame Imp is pretty bad. But he picks the Egg, and that's really good. But and this
I'm
is the
surprised
reason
for-
why Loot Hoarder is also pretty good. But Firebat runs one Loot Hoarder, one Obvious Engineer, right?
Oh, God.
Why do you call?
Yes, he runs one of each. Sorry, I don't think he runs. I haven't seen Pyroblast and I haven't seen Malagos. Although it might just be it's like some kind of mid card that he cut to include it.
Like Blizzard.
Maybe a single Blizzard, yeah.
These draws are
I mean,
pretty good
it's
for
less
both players.
common. Yeah. Both players are drawing well, in which case usually the one who gets away with it is the freeze mage.
With this kind
But
of
we'll
hand,
see.
I might even see Forsen going for a turn 6 Doomguard. You go Yin Yang Boss into Defender of Argus, then you dump your hand, then you play Doomguard on 6. And that's a lot of pressure, which I'm not sure if Firebat can deal with. Like, here's a spot where Gormok is not bad.
I mean, it's accelerating the clock by quite a bit. It's like a
Now
free
he
power
goes
whelming to
Argus.
face. It's pretty insane. Oh,
No, he
there's
drew
Gormok.
Gormok
A little too late.
to the party. He can still like play it after he gets the proc from Yin Yang Boss. I don't think you go for the flashy play of just trading the Yin Yang Boss so that you can play Gormok next turn.
You
I
play
don't think that's
defender
worth
though,
it.
right?
You play defender for sure, but you trade with the egg. You don't trade with the 3/5.
I would even go face with the egg. Is there a
Yeah,
drawback not
it's,
to?
it's a consideration. And I think he should have one face, right? Is there any reason not to? As you said.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it
don't
out.
see
Maybe like a Frostbolt ping, but that's definitely gonna happen on the M-Gang boss. He's just giving you more 1/1s. Yeah, I really don't know. Maybe he wants to get the egg damaged a little bit. Wow. Well, that's a lot of health to remove.
That's a really heads-up play. Does he get punished by anything?
Right now, it doesn't look like it. So
He needs a
get punished by-
Implosion.
he needs 4 on implosion, right?
Yes. So Implosion first, right?
What if it doesn't work?
It will work. It has to.
Oh my god. RDU, I can tell you have a lot more faith in the RNG in this game than I do. If this works, this is the game-winning play. Right? Like, there's nothing else to say about it. Oh, I know why he traded. To set up the egg in Blizzard range.
Okay, that's good.
There we go. There we go. It makes sense now. Sort of.
Yeah, that
really
is a good
does.
play.
Alright, he's not gonna go for
Forsen
it.
doesn't trust his RNG. He thinks it's rigged.
And you know, from all the games that I've seen him play, sometimes I want to agree. But it's just that he reacts to it so heavily that it's very different, of course.
I'm pretty sure that if he would have used the Implosion, it would hit like 2. Maybe 3, just to tip him off. Maybe
Yeah.
3.
Just be like, you were so close, Forsen, but you didn't do it, Forsen. Alright, so it looks like he's got the 2 blizzards that we spoke of that he might have cut. But Firebat is looking pretty scared here. I mean, 11 health, pretty low, but the double blizzard is something that can carry him forward.
Oh, that's a nice one. It's not that nice if he hits 2 though. Let's see.
It's coming, the 2. Oh no, it was 3.
3. As I said,
Good thing he
3.
didn't use that on the Doomsayer, right? Good thing he didn't use that on the Doomsayer.
Something also always that bugged me was, do the cards have like the RNG from when you draw them?
Preset,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah, is it preset or do you get it on spot?
Because you have to find how to manipulate those variables, right? So that you can
becoming
play.
religious. This is like the best time to become religious when you.
Oh,
Players-
when you
Oh!
sound like a Dr. Boom, I think you
It
can
worked.
afford to be religious.
It worked.
Your
Force
prayer
of
has been
praise.
answered. Oh, never mind. I lied. It wasn't.
The boombots are pretty good, but again, Gormok. Gormok
Yeah,
will be played.
Gormok is great here, right? It's gonna be played. It has to be played.
Great. Well,
What if the
Yeah.
boombots don't kill Archmage? What if?
he can go for the owl. Does Forsen see the owl his own minion?
Oh, please don't. Come on,
He has the
Forsen.
chance.
You
Come
can
on.
do it. Do it.
I know the play. You go for the owl on your own minion, and then you Gormok. And you have a lot of chances of both killing the Antonidas and proccing the Brock, and then you just Doomguard and you win. So, okay, you all the 7/7, and then you played Gormok.
No. Okay.
No, it's okay, it's okay. You all the
I
7/7,
thought he
and
was gonna play Doomguard.
then you Gormok the Antonidas. And
Right, to attack with the boom bots, right?
yes. Just do it, Forsen. Gormok Antonidas? No. Now you cannot Gormok.
Yeah.
What?
That was. I'm a little surprised. What? Oh! Oh!
If he Gormoked first, he would have won.
Forsen's face right now is worth $1,000.
And that's
Forsen,
why you
nobody
don't play
did this to
Gormok.
you. You
That's why
did
you
this
don't
to
play
yourself. Forsen, you brought this upon your. That's right, Forsen. Smash the ground. That's right. Oh, this is perfect. I'm loving this. All right. Well, I guess I don't have to be. He's still in an okay position, so it's not a table flip moment, right?
I don't want
If-
to. I don't want to be Osaka or Chucky in this spot.
You think that the salt would be even bigger?
I know that this kind of happened to me with Liquid when I went to O and then I just watched our series. I was like, I was feeling more pressure than when I was playing, just watching the series.
So, do you Nova Healbot here?
Hmm.
I kind of like that better than Blizzard. Because your Ice Block is almost quote-unquote guaranteed not to get popped. And then you can go for Blizzard Ice Berry on the following turn and probably be okay. The fact that your block is so far from being popped is such a big deal.
Will
Wow.
Forsen be able to like not get
I'll-
tilted by what happened? Like last time I calculated something around 80% to both kill Antonidas and proc the block, which is like a tremendous percentage.
No, I think it was guaranteed to work because you hit for 7, you hit for 4, and even if the Boombot hits Antonides for 1, you can finish it off.
Well, if you hit
So-
it twice for one, you can finish it off, but then you cannot proc the block. So you need
No,
the
if the
Boombot to hit
Boombot
for
if
two.
if the Boombot explodes on Antonidas, because he's on 3 health. So if you attack with the Boombot, it goes down to 2, and then if it hits Antonidas for 1, you can still re-attack and pop the block. It was 100%. It was like there's no way.
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't-
it was 100%.
yeah, there was no way it
Right?
didn't
Yeah,
work.
it was 100%.
Yeah, it was like it was the perfect
Wow.
play. The perfect play, spotted by RDO in 0.2 seconds. All right, so I guess we'll have Forsen looking for his top deck.
He needs to start praying again.
So he's gonna try to set up a sick flame strike. I can't fault him because what he's looking to do here is wipe the board completely clean and kill the imp that comes out of the imp gang boss. So the only way he does that... Oh, wow. That's gonna hurt. Alright, he doesn't play it. Wise choice. So Ice Barrier is obviously a lot better. That way you don't even have to ping the Doom Guard.
I think that in this spot, Firebat has it. I don't see a
Well,
way for Forsen to win.
Forsen didn't quite pop the block when he had the opportunity. So,
Forsen's best draw is Mal'Ganis, but even that will just get answered by Fireball, and it's only a matter of time. Actually, Firebat doesn't really have a mass removal. Okay, it's not over yet. Very interesting.
it's not over until the mage finds his lethal right away, right? Like that's pretty much the only thing you have to.
Ice Block will give
Okay.
him more time. Now you start calculating damage. So you can deal 13 first, put him at 6, next time you deal 4, and then
And
double
then with
ping.
the ice block, yeah.
Okay, so how many turns do you need to win? You need 4 turns to win, unless you top deck a damage. So 4 turns to win. Okay, Frostball Face is probably not the play.
Yeah, you're not removing enough damage. Killing this removes 4, so maybe you have more time. Like the pings along with the fireballs might be enough. Firebat's definitely been in a position like this before, where he knows what he has to do. There's a few outs in his deck that probably stabilize him even more than he already is. Like an Alex Strada would be insane.
Yeah, Firebat goes for the top deck line of play. The
It's a
top
good
deck
one 'cause
Fireball.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work here. That's Forsen's top decks at least are gonna work. Let's hope Firebat's line up as well. Ice block number 1 popped, and Firebat's gonna be trying to recover from it. Pretty rough. He's gonna be exactly at 1.
He can still top deck Fireball, right? Or he doesn't have any more Fireballs.
He's got no more of those. Oh wait, no, one of them was given to him by Archmage. You're right, he could top deck Fireball for the lethal. That would be a crazy finish. So he can ice block Fireball once and find the other one with card draw, and he
Oh!
finds it off the
I'm
top.
sorry, I'm sorry,
RDU,
I'm sorry.
you have
He's
come
sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
you have come
He's sorry.
to
I'm sorry,
fruition
I'm
as a
sorry,
caster.
I'm sorry,
You may
I'm
now
sorry,
curse
I'm
people
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm
by
sorry,
calling the
I'm sorry,
cards.
I'm sorry, I'm
This
sorry,
is
He's
this is
sorry.
it.
He was sorry until the rope because he needs to tilt Forsen. He needs to make Forsen feel bad so that Zalay has a better chance of winning.
I'm loving this.
If there is a time to tilt Forsen, now is the time to tilt Forsen.
And now Forsen is telling himself, I will not fall for that crap. I will not fall for that crap. And by repeating it, he's actually falling for it more and more.
Look at Firebat.
Thank you.
Whenever people do this, Forsen knows they don't have it. And now Firebat just has it. And now Forsen turns around in his chair and he sees the lethal.
This is this is just unreal. Oh, poor Forsen.
This series gets like better and better because you know that it goes to the last game after a tremendous missed lethal kind of. And
Right.
the team that loses is out.
Right, they're
Out.
knocked out of the event. They're absolutely knocked out. This is the game to decide who stays for their chance at the $250,000 prize pool. So we'll see exactly if Forsen is affected by that loss. I mean, I'd imagine he will be, at least a little bit. If not the tilt, then the pressure alone. The pressure
This
alone is
game-
enough.
This game might make it into the Hearthstone history.
Yeah, especially if Zalay misses lethal with the rope on Patron. That would make history.
Well, if there is a matchup where you can miss some patron things, it's versus Zoo because you don't really have animation time to kill all the 1-1s. But as I said earlier, this is probably also like a really perfect 50-50 if both players play it correctly. And I'm really curious how it goes. Usually Zoo mulligans for really fast start and hopes they don't have the Fiery War Axe. But as we know, he'll have the Fiery War Axe as an answer. He will have it.
If he gets it again, I think we can safely say that this tournament is completely rigged, followed by Blizzard to improve Green Patron's win rates in order to inflate it to then justify nerfs so that all our BRM purchases are wasted. This is exactly what I think is going to happen. Alright, here we go. Let's see if the Fiery Wind Axe shows up in Zalay's hand.
I think Zalay already mulliganed, did he? I don't think he... Wait. Did he keep Patron again? Versus Zoo? And Cruel Taskmaster and Whirlwind?
He did. You're right. He did. He
Wait.
got exactly this. Maybe not the Whirlwind. I'm not sure.
It's funny
I've seen him
because
play Green Patron like really greedily, right? Earlier.
I don't say I'm a better... I don't say I'm a good Green Patron player, but I would have just thrown all the hand away. We have
I
like super
think,
different playstyles. Me and Zalay.
Well, the positioning of the cards is different.
So then he
We
threw it
had-
away.
I think he threw it away because we had Cruel Task, Patron, Whirlwind in the hand, and he
I
got
don't think
Whirlwind.
that's a keep. Yeah, that's definitely not a hand to keep. I would have to say. I don't know. I'm not a Patron expert by any means. But, I don't know. I don't see the way you beat Zoo with that greedy of a hand. Because the Zoo is not gonna have 2-1s that you can Cruel Taskmaster. You can
Yes,
rarely
okay.
get the Whirlwind off. And Patron, that's really unrealistic to think you can get Patron off on turn 5 or 6. I think we joined too late as a spectator to see if he mulliganed. I'm not sure.
No, I'm pretty sure just the ordering of the cards was weird. Either that or the Mulligan came out really like the randomization of it was super weird. So we'll have to see how he's gonna handle this. I mean, the moment he can get himself a patron board, he might be okay. But Forsen's hand is looking pretty good. He's got minions that just won't die, and if they do, they're gonna bring something out. So this is definitely a position that Forsen's happy to be in.
Also, thinking about it, the way you improve as a Hearthstone player is by watching somebody else win with plays that you would have not made, because that plays
Right.
potentially become viable for yourself. So if Zalay shows me the way of keeping Green Patron and executing it perfectly, making 4 Patrons on turn 5 or 6, then sure.
What I
I'll
like
be-
here is the Warsong Commander Cruel Taskmaster is definitely an okay play. Like, because you can trade 1 minion away. The question is whether or not you pick up... Like, it's a play that he might have been considering. I expected to see Whirlwind, like, preset, but it's really weak against Defensive Argus.
Pass me that Arclight spanner.
Zale's hand is really weak right now versus what Forsen has. He wanted obviously something else, I think.
Yeah.
And Forsen is the kind of player that would do the bluff, for example. Like here, I'm sure that many people would just tap into Direwolf Alpha and Abusive. But there is some merit to also playing Void Color. Never mind, he still does that play. I'm not sure if I like the positioning. With a better positioning, he could have killed the egg too. But actually, no,
Maybe
no, never
you
mind.
might not want to pop the egg.
Yeah, you
depending on
probably
how
don't want to
scared you
pop
are.
the egg.
Oh man, this is such a weird hand for Zale. You have to
wonder.
execute this, do you? Or are you afraid? Like, because the thing is, if Doomguard comes out, you're even weirder of a spot. I mean, you could play Patron Whirlwind into Patron Cruel Task,
That's not
and then you
reliable.
set up. You have like 2 executes set up, but you need the executes against the Doomguards.
Zale needed Fiery Water Axe, that's why I think you hard mulligan for that card. But again, we might just not see the early game and the mulligan stage. Now Forsen is in a spot where he would win like 80% of the time. Just
Wait,
playing Patron myself, I know.
Warsong Commander into Cruel Task on the 2/3, and then you attack into it? That removes
very-
kind of like it's so
It's a
weak.
very weak play, yeah.
Yeah.
In theory, the way you win is surviving until turn 8 where you can play your Patron combo, but the only way you do that is by hard mulliganing for early game removals that sustain you until turn 8.
You have to at least kill the wolf or something. Like some damage has to be removed from this board. All right, there we go.
I still think Forsen has like way too much damage for Zale to take it. Like he has
I agree
abusive
with
for
you.
the egg.
I agree.
At
Like
least
we've
on
seen his
the-
entire deck, so there's no brawl in there. Forsen is playing the game of the tournament for his team at the moment. This is at least one of the games. There's a lot of them coming up. If he gets out of this one, it's one step at a time, but this is definitely one of the most important games for him to win.
Is there any reason to play Creeper over the Yin Yang boss?
It's not really protection against Patron, but Patron's not coming out next turn. Protection against Brawl is that's the only thing that loses you the game.
He knows he doesn't have Brawl.
Yes, yes. You have a Void Color that might die.
Oh yeah, okay. You spot all the things so fast.
What now?
Yeah, I just can't play in a tournament. It's impossible. I'm incapable of playing in a tournament setting. It doesn't work for me. I can play Challenge Stone, all right. That's pretty sweet. So let's see if Zale is going to try to play the War Song. I mean, if he goes for the War Song, there's no recovery. He has to wait for next turn. So I think stalling by going maybe Acolyte of Pain, Frothing, Execute.
There is one problem here. Even if Creeper is the worst card you want to have versus Patron, if you have 2 Creepers, they cannot kill both. They will
Because they can't
eventually
flood
fill up
the
their
board,
board.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
That's
they
a
cannot
great
deal with both. And he needs a
Well-
Whirlwind for that. And he already used the Whirlwind, and then he doesn't have mana for Whirlwind even if he had the second one. So 2 Creepers is actually pretty good. Like a huge board of 1 and 2s that have Death Rattles is not bad versus Patron by any means.
So Zale has to armor up in order to live. If he doesn't, he's dead.
And now he gets the Ingarn boss, as you said earlier. So it's
Yeah.
a really good play by Forsen.
Forsen finds more damage. That's going to be it. There's a chance still. It's going to sound weird, but there's a chance that Zale can win on the back of the next turn. Because look at the amount of damage on the board. It's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So he's got only 18 damage. Zale's on, 21. And next turn, his board is gone. And he might have to just kill the Frothing here, obviously.
Being Forsen, you probably just Implosion.
Yeah, for damage. Don't even need to spawn the imps at this point. Nice
Oh.
job, Forsen.
That's perfect.
And now Zale is gonna get the Patron Wet Dream. The problem is he might not have enough room to spawn all the patrons and make everything work.
He doesn't have enough room. For sure.
That's not
There
bad.
is
He can
not
kill the
enough.
4/4. That can kill the 4/4.
Zara needs to play it really fast. And if Forsen keeps BMing and emoting, it might lag his computer enough to like steal some microseconds.
We can
And
dream.
now he doesn't know what to kill. What do you do? So like go. Do the play.
do the play. You gotta inner rage to kill that 4-4, I think. Don't you? What?
You first want to kill the in-gang boss.
The reasoning is?
You don't want the in-gang boss to spawn more 1-1s.
Well, they won't matter if you have patrons. Because you don't even want to kill the in-gang boss. You can't even kill it with a full board. I mean, if you kill the 4-4, you're fine because you can spawn another wave of them. But then you haven't solved the problem of the in-gang boss at all. So you can't kill a flame imp.
Forsen 1 if he comes back.
That's it. Forsen's out. He called his mom. He's like, "Mom, I did it. I did it. Mom, I did it. I did it." You got your dad. He's got his mom. He's calling her. He's telling him, "I did it. We're gonna move through to the possibility of a chance at this." And now he's gonna BM like Firebad BM'd him, but he doesn't realize Delay is actually not Firebad. I'm sorry, Forsen. That's the wrong person.
That was some over-the-top BM for Forsen. But he ends up taking the game. Now he would enjoy it. He enjoys it.
I beat Patron. Oh, and there we go. Here we go.
Okay, what's the chance of making a misplay here?
Considering the last game, I'd say 100%, but I'm not sure.
Okay, Forsen. Attack the in-gang boss into something, come on. Like, he can misclick. He can lose internet connection. Other than that, he'll pull away the game.
He's trembling from the pleasure, and then he just attacks the wrong target.
Wow,
and then
really
the rope hits. The rope hits. Like
he's like a serial. He's like a serial
alive.
killer with his victim.
He plays with it. I think all Hearthstone players are a bit like that.
Like serial killers with their victims.
Forsen takes the game, doesn't misplay at the very end there, which is very good. That was a very technical play right there with the perfect APM. Nicely done on the rope there. Life coach level APM for this action. So it turns out Forsenboys is going to take it over Team Archon. And wow, that was a really close match. Like a really close match between both teams. Pretty intense.
Yeah, I loved it. And we look forward to face Forsenboys tomorrow. It will be a really interesting series.
Right.
I hope
tomorrow,
it will be as interesting. Yeah, I hope it will be as interesting as today's series.
Oh, that's all gonna depend on you guys, right? Like, I'm just casting the games. I'm enjoying when I see your Gormok miss lethal. Like, I'm enjoying all these things. So I hope we get a lot of cool games. It's gonna be Nihilum, which lost earlier versus Temple Storm. They had a chance to go directly to the live finale, but Temple Storm is going there. And now, if Nihilum wins versus Forsenboys, then they're gonna move on themselves to the finale. So Forsenboys could still get another win and move on there. So this is a really important match tomorrow. It's going to be at the exact same time. I mean, it's going to be the same format, right? Team Conquest, best of 11, same things. I don't think you guys can change decks unless I'm mistaken. So no, you have all the information. You've got all the information you need. Again, like about your opponents. You've cast them today, so maybe that's going to give you an edge. You know, knowing everything that's in there. Of course, you can always watch the VODs, but it's even easier when you were watching it in the first place, just from casting. So that's going to wrap it up for the day, guys. Now, before we go, a little shout out to the partners. We've got Alpha Draft and Amazon. So Alpha Draft is an esports fantasy league. If you want to check them out, it's alphadraft.com. You have a chance to win a portion of $300,000 they give away each week. They're going to match up to $250 on your deposit, if I'm not mistaken. And as far as Amazon, they're doing a giveaway for 50% discount packs on 40 packs. So you can check them out at teamarchon.com/Amazon or Amazon.com/Hearthstone. Now that's out of the way, RD, before we wrap it all up, any last thoughts? That's it.
I hope we win tomorrow so that we redeem ourselves for today. That's all.
All right. Well, I hope you don't end up at a 6-1. So yeah, guys, until tomorrow, be there. It's going to be the same time. You guys have a nice one, and thanks for watching.